Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has harem in High School of Death. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Flames of Azure and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. It all happened so quickly. Naruto thought as he laid in a cave of some sort. He was alone now, and he barely knew where he was. He didn't think that he would be able to return to Konoha, not that Kyuubi would let him anyway. Flashback. 14-year-old Naruto boredly walked down a dirt path with his sensei, Jiraiya, or as he called him, Erosenin. He had finally figured out how to do the Rasengan with one hand and thanks to his sensei, made the Rasengan a bit bigger. As his mind wandered, he thought back to the scroll that the pervert had given him. Sure, he had asked what was inside it, and the old perv said not to open it until the time was right. But he did say that his book series was in there, and Naruto instantly had a dislike for it. For some reason, he only now remembered it. He was so into his own thoughts that he didn't notice his impending doom until it was too late. He was grabbed from behind and was wrapped up in paper. Really? He moved his head to see a woman in a black cloak with red clouds. Akatsuki. He thought in panic, but this woman was not a person from that group that he recognized. Conan? Jiraiya said in disbelief and shock. He was told that his old students were dead. Hello, sensei. The blue-haired woman said. We are talking to Kyuubi now. Like hell, he said, but was pierced through the chest by a black rod. He had not even sensed the second person, who was now in front of him. Why, Yahiko? No, sensei. The man replied in a monotone. Jiraiya noticed that the Rinnegan were in his eyes, and he instantly knew what happened from stories he read as a child. Nagato, why? For peace. Only through pain will there be peace. Nagato replied. No, that is not the way. I won't let you do this. Jiraiya shouted, ripping out the rod in his chest and summoning both Ma and Pa Toad. You don't have a choice. Nagato said before all his bodies appeared behind the Toad Sage and ran him through with multiple black rods, one even going through his head. P protect Naruto. Jiraiya said weakly to the two old toads before he fell over dead. The two toads nodded to each other and leapt towards the blonde, intent on bringing him to their home before returning him to Konoha. They never got the chance because Nagato blasted them back with a weird unseen jutsu. Leave. He commanded, and toads could not help but heed his command, but they would inform Tsunade. Nagato turned to a glaring Naruto with tears in his eyes and the begins of Kyuubi's chakra seeping through. Why? For peace. Your opinion does not matter, Kyuubi. I will take you power now. Nagato replied as he held out a hand to the blonde, who kept on glaring, but that soon changed when the blonde felt he was in his mind. Naruto blinked, and he was in front of the Kyuubi's cage. The giant nine-tailed fox was staring down at him. Kyuubi. Boy, it is time. Set me free. I am going to die either way, Naruto said solemnly. Wrong, was the Kyuubi's answer. When I was pulled out of your mother, she stayed alive before she was killed. I have grown to respect you, boy. Now it is time for me to help you. This world no longer holds the power to stand up on its own. It needs us to fight for it. No more. If this Nagato wants pain, he'll get it. Now release me and I'll save you from this torment. For once, the demon was right. He also hoped that Kyuubi was right about his mom. Fine, Naruto said with determined eyes. Give them hell. I intend to. The fox roared with glee. And just so you know, my name is Kurama. Naruto smiled faintly before he jumped up and ripped the seal off the cage. There was a flash of light, and all he knew was pain. End flashback. Then the Kyuubi had utterly destroyed Nagato and Conan. The giant beast took the blonde's limp body and took him to the edge of the world. There he just dropped the blonde in this cave and said that a new world lied beyond and left. However, he did leave with a warning. No world is perfect. You might have to save that one since you could not with this one. That made no sense to him, but he would deal with it when the time came. Right now he felt incredibly weak, but he pushed himself off the ground and walked down the dark walkway of the cave, leaning on the wall for support. This vaguely reminded him of one of Irika's lectures, something about a lava tube. He did notice it was getting hotter as well. Soon he came upon a large crack in the floor and looked down. Yep, that is a lava tube because there was a river of lava below. Continuing forward, he felt his strength slowly returning to him. Soon he came upon a large tunnel that went up and he tried to walk upward, but slipped and fell on the first try. Damn, now I felt that. Something is wrong with my chakra. That was bad. He tried making a shadow clone and not even a poof of smoke formed. Great, I have chakra but I can barely use it. He then heard a cracking noise underneath him. He barely had a chance to look down before the ground gave way and he was falling towards a part of the river of lava. He tried reaching out and caught something white. It slid down past him before getting wedged in the downward tunnel. He, of course, fell on it with a loud thump. Looking at it more closely, it was the skull of some crazy creature he had never seen or heard about before. The teeth alone were huge. He didn't have time to look in awe at his finding because there was a rumble, and it seemed the lava was coming up. Oh shit! He screamed and panicked. How was he going to get out of this one? Then it hit. One of Irika's old lectures came back to him. Why? Well, it dealt with explosives, of course. He took out an explosive note and attached it to a kunai, and then threw it. He hoped the gases caught fire or this would be a painful death. Slow and painful. Not cool. Please work! Naruto screamed in his mind. His chakra might be shot, but he hoped it was enough to trigger the seal. He threw it into the side of the upward shaft, and with a single hand sign nothing happened. Come on! Naruto screamed before it actually blew up. All the gases and fire reacted, creating a chain reaction. The gases all ignited, blasting the skull that Naruto was on skyward up the tunnel. Holy crap! He shouted before his protection blasted through the ceiling and into water. The hell? He was ripping through water. Must have been in an underwater volcano or something. Finally, when he broke through the water as well, he was finally able to breathe, but he did notice that the teeth to his skull ride were gone. Looking around, all he saw was water. Wait, was that some large-ass village in the distance? The buildings were huge. And there were so many people on that beach. Wait, why was he moving backwards? Looking back, he deadpanned, this is so not my day. Why? Well, a huge tidal wave was forming and he was getting sucked in. Luckily, this wave was heading toward the beach, so he thought he should make the best of it. On the beach, a small group of people were watching the wave as it come toward them. A dark-haired boy noticed that a person was it, and announced that little fact. Wow, you right, Takashi? Wonder who it is. A gray-haired boy wondered. The girl of the group decided to be quiet and watch what would happen. Soon more and more people had noticed Naruto on his impromptu surfboard. Naruto slowly stood up on the base of the skull, and thanks to his ninja-like balance, he was on his feet the entire time. Of course, this was his first time surfing and he sucked. Why? Well, as soon as the wave crashed down, he was blasted outward as his surfboard was shattered. While in the air, he noticed that he was heading for a small group of people, more specifically the girl of the group. He crashed into her, and they crashed to the ground. Takashi took one look at the scene and paled. This kid was going to get killed by Rei, he just knew it. Hisashi, do you think we should help? I don't know. Hisashi replied, blushing a bit because the blonde's head was in between Rei's breasts. Rei took one look at the guy on her and pushed him off. This was not something she wanted to happen today. Hey! Get up! Naruto, who had swirly eyes, responded in a way that no one expected, but they should have. But Ero-sen, I don't want to train today. Gamakichi and I were going to go scare people for fun. Rei blinked. Takashi blinked. Hisashi blinked before they all started laughing. This kid must have really knocked himself out. Come on, let's put him in the shade, Hisashi said with a smile. When Naruto awoke, he noticed he was under an umbrella. Slowly getting up, a group of teenagers, probably the same age as him. There was a black-haired boy with oddly spiked hair, not that he could say much since his own hair was crazy. There was a gray-haired boy that looked calm and a brown-haired girl with some of her hair acting like she had antennae, and she looked slightly annoyed. These must be people from this new and odd world he was in. He barely felt any chakra from them. Hi, Naruto said lamely. Hey, I am Hisashi. These are my friend Rei and Takashi. The gray-haired boy introduced them. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto paused. He could not say his normal introduction because then they would call him nuts. Yeah, he was smarter than he let on. I am new around here. I thought so. Takashi chuckled. And you kind of ran right into Rei when we first met. Naruto noticed a blush on all three faces and figured out that in his landing, it must have been a bit perverted. Damn. I am sorry! He yelled out frantically as he closed his eyes, hoping her punch would not hurt that bad. The three blinked and noticed he was bracing himself, so Rei asked, What are you doing? Naruto opened his eyes to see the confused looks on their faces and sighed. Sorry. It is that back home, my friend Sakura would pound my face and just for saying something stupid or doing something stupid. The three blinked olishly before Rei smiled. Don't worry. I won't do that. Yeah, so tell us about yourself. Are you going to transfer to our school? Takashi asked. Naruto blinked before he smiled. Yeah, he was going to like it here. The day after Naruto met Rei, Takashi, and Hisashi, he spent it getting ready for school and getting the money for it. Now, how would someone like him, a ninja with no ability to do ninjutsu or genjutsu, be able to get money and place to stay without getting into trouble? Well, that is simple, the scroll that Jiraiya gave him, of course. Yes, he still had the ability to use chakra, just not in the conventional ways. It was odd, but seeing no real danger in this world, he could make do with seals and taijutsu. Still, he was thankful for Jiraiya actually teaching him about seals. In that scroll was indeed the man book series plus the only book that was not smut, which he found out was pretty good. In addition to those books, was a book on sealing, written by the 4th Hokage himself. Along with that was 2 letters from the man and someone named Kushina. And there were quite a few bricks of gold within the scroll as well. After reading the letters, he found out that he was the freaking son of a dead Hokage, and that explained all the gold. Still, he would have liked to know that little tidbit growing up. It was not like was going to blurt it out to a random stranger, right? On second thought, maybe it was a good idea, but it still hurt. It also seemed that this Kushina lady was his MOM. She was from another village that got destroyed. It seemed that she also helped to write the book on sealing. That was just awesome. Oh, and Jiraiya was his godfather. Thankfully, he was given a few pictures of them to remember them by. He would keep them close to his heart. Okay, enough of all that sappiness. He then proceeded to cash in a few bricks of gold. Yeah, like he was going to cash in all of them. Jiraiya found out the hard way that Naruto was way smarter than he let on, and this proved it. Maybe he would use the others later, but what he cashed in was all that he needed at the moment. He then went over to their school and signed himself in. He made it look like he was transferring in. Hey, in a way he was. Sure, he was done with Konoha Academy, but they didn't have to know that, and it is not like they researched that stuff, right? Of course not. So with that, he figured he would be going to school the next day and got himself a nice little apartment by the school, which for the record, was way better than shit of shit he had back in Konoha. After that, he took a look at Jiraiya's books and sighed. There was another way to honor him by publishing his books. Of course that would expose this world to the Ika series, but whatever. They would still get his other, more worthwhile book. Sure, he had taken up more of the day getting ready for stay in this world, but the publisher's office should still be open. Oh yeah, it was. When he presented the books to the publisher, the man was shocked that a kid what to that considering what the Ika series was. Thankfully, Naruto convinced the man that he was doing his for his dead godfather. The man sympathized with him and decided to publish Legend of the Gutsy Ninja and the first book his Jiraiya's Ika series to see where things went. Naruto thanked him and left. So yeah, I heard we are getting a new student today. A girl gossiped to her friends. Rei and her friend heard this and smirked. They already knew who it was because they met him the other day. Sure, people transfer in all the time, but not this late into the school year. Naruto had been lucky to get in at all. Yeah, I heard that too, another girl said. So, do you think it a guy or a girl? I hope it is a guy and a hot one at that, a third girl said happily. Of course the guys of the classroom were talking about it and hoped it was a hot chick. Like they didn't already have enough of those. But they could hope. Soon enough, the teacher announced the presence of the new student. Okay, you may come in, the teacher stated. Everyone but a few watched with rapt attention as the door opened slowly, and in walked a young man with blonde hair that was really spiky and had the sleek-looking school uniform, but it seemed that he had an orange hoodie on. Takashi's group just smirked. So, please introduce yourself to us. Naruto smiled warmly at the group, causing the girls to have blushes on their face because they though he was quite handsome and the smile made it more so. The guys just rolled their eyes at this. Yo! My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Remember that. Thank you, now you may go sit down by Rei over there. The teacher replied and was about to have Rei raise her hand to show where Naruto would sit, but Naruto was surprisingly already there. Rei smiled at her new friend from the beach. So, what took you so long? I thought you would have been here yesterday. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes and they just opened one in a teasing manner. Oh, you know, I just got lost on the road of life, he said, quoting his one-eyed teacher. That made all who heard it sweat drop before the whole class started to laugh, even the teacher. Although, both guys and girls wondered how Naruto already knew Rei. This crap is so confusing. Naruto growled to himself on the stairwell. He was currently doing some homework before class, but he had still not gotten some of it. What was that, stupid? Came a voice full of mirth but forceful. The voice belonged to Saya Takagi. She was pink-haired girl with long hair that was always seen in 2 strange pigtails on either side of her head. Her hair also has 2 thin, long bangs at the sides, 2 thin strands of hair over the left side of her forehead, and a spiky larger portion of hair covering the left side of her forehead. She has fierce orange eyes and furrowed eyebrows. Her physique is slender, however according to one of Naruto's friends, she has bikini model-sized breasts. Naruto had met her through Takashi since those two had been friends for a long time like Rei was. At first, Saya was just his tutor in a few things since Naruto was not that smart in certain areas, but they soon changed. His carefree personality had rubbed off on her, and she felt more comfortable around him. She had even gained crush on him, not that she would tell him, of course. Although, if he ever asked her out, she would defiantly say yes. But of course, since they were friends, they usually hung out normally anyway. Naruto smiled at his friend that he was sometime reminded of Sakura, but she never hit him for being stupid. Saya actually helped him. At just this math problem, the girl said before she came up from behind him and leaned over the boy to better help him. Naruto froze a little since her breasts were on his back. This is going to be a long day. Saya inwardly smirked as Naruto sweated from what she was doing, but outwardly, she ignored it. She was going to help her friend stay in school. Besides, he was pretty smart once he got the hang of things. He still could not believe that Morita had made him do this. Although, after a while, he didn't mind being in the band. Besides, he was the singer of the group. Plus, he even learned to play the guitar, which was a plus for him. He shook his head when Morita gave him a piece of paper with a list for girls on it. He recognized the names for them as he was friend with them. Okay, what the hell is this? Morita smiled at that. He had blonde hair that is spiked in the middle and has light green eyes. Like Takashi, he wore his jacket open to reveal a green checked sweatshirt with the collar bent downwards. Naruto was the same, but he had an orange shirt with the red Uzumaki symbol on it. Don't be a downer, Naruto, the carefree boy said. Yet another reason the two got along. They were both pretty carefree. This list is Master Morita's top secret list of Fujimi Academy's AAA grade hot girls. I mean, this is the whole reason I started this band. To pick up hot chicks. Naruto chuckled. Just don't let any of these girls see this, they will probably kick your ass. Heh, I'll keep this in a safe place then, Morita said with a laugh. But what makes you think I would get my ass kicked? Naruto looked at him like he was stupid. Let's just say experience. My godfather used to do this type of stuff but to a more pervert outlook. Who was your godfather? Morita asked. His name was Jiraiya. Naruto replied but soon realized his mistake. Toad Master Jiraiya is your godfather? Morita and the other guys of the band shouted in shock. Why yeah, Naruto said, a bit freaked out, but he should have figured these guys would get that book. But he died. I published them in his memory. We're not worthy. The boy all bowed to him, making the blonde facepalm himself. Alright, on to something important, Naruto said before things got out of hand. Let's get one with that song now. Hey, what is it called anyway? Morita asked curiously. Naruto smiled, thinking about his old home. Heroes come back. Alright. Let's do this. Morita and the other guys cheered. Soon drums began to get beat, and then a guitar sound came took the mic and began to sing. Tukudikakura ko wa hitori. Hitori mata hitori de chi agara tushur. Kuriki sadake no fudandori. Itsujie ikajumbai tu, are you ready? Karadaja fu no wa shinza and I. Hagashiku chi nares yo stomping. Terazuki wa kesa call me. Kawara sujuru jie nuki ka story. Come on everybody, stand up. Ajiro Q Ichiban no Jikanda. Mianai mo Tamarin no Speed Hunter. Dare mo Nabanatori Ko Kanba ye. Come on everybody, hands up. Mata Ashita no Heroes wa come back. Tsujukezo Hibi wa countdown. Let's go, 3, 2, 1, make some noise. It was at this point, Naruto put on a pair of Romani sunglasses and sung in a deeper voice. Heiyo mao basho noritsuku wa kakugo desho. Nankai korandat tatsu kurido. Nate ida naze kami hitoi no seisho. Irakunda kenju kazuki ajeta desho. Mokiagara kansei jie yuki taneru. Tashigariba ayame kurushimi tamano. Soar demos saiku wa kitoru. Sabitsarau to shoyuri no kensei. Everybody stand up. Ajiro Q Ichiban no Jikanda. Mianai mo Tamarin no Speed Hunter. Dare mo Nabanatori Ko Kanba ye. Come on everybody, hands up. Mata Ashita no Heroes wa come back. Tsujukezo Hibi wa countdown. Let's go, 3, 2, 1, make some noise. Down on the school grounds, since they were on the school roof, they heard people cheering them on, having heard them. Morita grinning like a madman, knowing that with Naruto in their band, they would be successful. However, Naruto felt a disturbance in the air. Why do I get the dark feeling that some fangirls have been born? Naruto was glad he had joined the Kendo Club. It gave him a defined style of sword combat for him to use. Kurama's last words still echoed within his mind, and he wanted to make sure he was ready for whatever came his way. Sure, he had his street fighting to keep his improving taijutsu skills up. He watched his senpai easily beat one of the other club members. He had yet to actually fight her to see how he stacked up to her, but it seemed that today he might get his chance. And he was right. He got up and got into a loose stance. It was one he saw in Konoha, used by a purple-haired Umbu. He had seen the woman training and decided to watch before he got bored and left. He actually remembered some parts of her style and added it to his kendo style. Now was the time to test it out. His opponent was named Seiko Busujima. She has long and straight bluish indigo hair with a triangular fringe at the front that barely touches the ridge of her nose, and she has blue eyes. Like most of the students, she wears the normal school uniform, even though they do have kendo uniforms. Another notable thing about her is that she had large D-cup breasts. He knew she was a year older than him, but he didn't mind much. She was cool. The two stared at each other for a few seconds before two charged at one another. As their swords clashed, they observed the other. As he was fighting her, he noticed that she had a serious face on, which she usually had when fighting, but there was one time when he saw a spark in her eye when someone was about to give her a challenge. However, that died when she beat that person. Maybe he can provoke that side and really see what she could do. He felt that she was holding back a lot. Seiko noticed that the blonde's expression was the same as when he fought the other members of the club. It was either bored look or a smile. Right now, he was smile without a care in the world. Like he was not even trying. Normally, she was a nice person to everyone, concerned about their well-being, but that smile provoked her other side. Her sadistic side. He was held back like she was, and she wanted to see how strong he was. Like that, the shift happened. She gained her sadistic smile as his eyes showed her bloodlust. She strikes came more rapidly and with more force. Naruto had to admit she was good and man, she was strong. He actually had to tighten his grip around his kendo stick. He looked back at her face to see that sadistic smile, and he wondered offhandedly if she was turned on by this. That was a mistake to be distracted like that because she got in a hit on his cheek. The strike was so fast that it drew some blood. Damn you pervy sage, you corrupted me. Seiko looked on wide-eyed and she lost her sadistic side in concern for her fellow club member. However, before she could ask if he was alright, his expression changed to that of an emotionless mask that scared the other club members and made her a bit nervous. He reached up to touch his cheek and wiped the blood off. He took a look at it before his expression changed to that of a serious one, and his eyes hardened and became slit-like. You wanna play? Let's play, Naruto said as he charged at her again, his blade in a reverse grip. This was nuts. He was matching her blow for blow as she regained her sadistic side. Now this was a fight. He would switch grips every now and then. How was he this good? Did he practice at home or something? Those thoughts left her as the look on his face was actually exciting her. Those whisker marks and the slit eyes gave him a feral look, and it was hot. However, those thoughts led to her downfall. Naruto got in a strong strike that knocked her kendo blade out of her hands, and he pointed his stick at her neck. The room was deathly silent after that. All the kendo members were in shock at what they had seen. Seiko was their best member and Naruto had not only matched her, but he beat her. They all wondered what would happen next. The two stared at each other before Naruto took his kendo blade away from her neck and held out his hand with a smile on his face. Seiko was stunned that he's such a nice person and a good fighter like she was. So she took the hand and gripped it hard with a smile of her own. The look in her eyes though told him this was not over, but he had gained a friend. This event gained him a friend and rival, but there was something else in her eyes that showed something else, something he was not familiar with. And he'd figure it out later. Hey, just leave me alone, a voice said weakly. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this and walked to where he heard the voice. When he got there, he saw a slightly overweight guy near his own age getting bullied by some beefy-looking guys. How about no, you little prick? One the guy said, probably the leader. Besides, we are going to put you in your place, you little gun freak. Hey, it is not like you have any friends anyway. What, do you buy a gun and then stick your in it since you can't get a real woman? No, the dark-haired boy shouted. I bet you do. Just say it and live with it, freak, the same guy said. Naruto scowled and had enough of this. He even saw that one of the teachers, Shido, was just looking on with a sadistic smile. Oh, he was going to wipe that smile off his face. He really did not like that man. After all, there was a reason he skipped most of the man's classes. He walked onto the scene and said, "Leave him alone." The beefy-looking guys turned and glared at the blonde. "This is none of your business, Uzumaki. Just leave." Naruto's bored look turned into his serious look with slit eyes, freaking them out a bit. He then sent out some ki to scare them. "I am his friend now, and I don't like it when people are picked on just because they are different and are considered weak. Leave." The beefy-looking boys looked ready to piss themselves and decided the smart thing to do was do as Naruto told them. They quickly left. Naruto shot Shido a glare and the man just scowled before walking away. Turned back to the chubby-looking boy, he smiled and held out his hand. "Hey, name's Naruto Uzumaki." "I am Kota Hirano," the kid said hesitantly. "Well, Kota, how about we be friends?" Naruto asked. Kota actually smiled. "I would like that, But you don't mind having a friend who is a gun enthusiast? Not really, since I don't know much about guns, Naruto said, and kind of regretted it because Koda then proceeded to talk his ear off about them, and the one gun he wished was real. An energy gun. That piqued Naruto's interest as well. Koda, you just gave me an idea. My god, Uzumaki, you don't even look winded. Have you even running the track? Kyoko, the gym teacher, who was known to be very strict, asked. Yeah, you watched me, right? Naruto asked, confused. He did not know what the big deal was. Yes, I have, and I am just shocked is all. You must have a lot of stamina, the big-breasted teacher stated. Yeah, I have always had that. I am just in really good shape, Naruto replied with a shrug. Kyoko sighed at that. She had reddish-brown hair which she keeps in a loose ponytail with long strands hanging down in front of each ear. Her eyes are light brown and she wears glasses. She has a full figure with large breasts. However, this presented an opportunity for her. Why? Well, her life kind of sucked at the moment, and things were not going as she planned. If she got him as an intern helping her out, she could get to know him for when he got out of school. Hey, she would try anything once. Uzumaki, how would you like to be my intern? Help me whip these slackers into shape, Kyoko asked. Naruto shrugged. Why not? I am going to run some more and motivate my classmates, Naruto said before he took off his sweaty shirt and started running again. Kyoko blushed at what she saw. This kid was well-toned for someone his age. It was now wonder why he was such a good athlete. Her thoughts started to wander off into a more perverted land as she thought about his stamina. Naruto, of course, was oblivious to her thoughts and the thoughts of his female classmates. Naruto was walking to the kendo club room when he heard a noise. School was over and there was barely anyone in this building, so he decided to check it out. Walking up to an empty classroom, he peered through the crack in the door, and what he saw made his blood boil. Two girls, whom he knew as Tashimi Nikki and Misuzu Ichiju, were chained up to a few desks where a teacher was groping Tashimi's breasts. He was a fat ass and was known to be a pervert and an asshole. Tashimi was a dark-haired girl that was tied in a pigtail and is slightly combed in the front. She wore the normal school uniform. Misuzu was a brown-haired girl which is tied in a bun. She wore the normal school uniform. Please stop, Tashimi cried out with tears running down her face. Sure. You're about to have a mind-blowing experience, so just accept it, the man said as he painfully groped her breasts harder. Stop. Leave her alone, Misuzu screamed. Oh, don't worry, you get your turn, the slimy man said. Naruto growled as he had enough of this shit. He would not sit by and watch as these two girls get raped by this slob of a man. So he kicked the door off its hinges and sent it flying into a wall. This scared the crap out of the old man and the girls. Leave them alone, Naruto demanded in a serious tone. No, the man said as he regained his wits. Now run along before I purposely get you in trouble for disrespecting a teacher. Naruto didn't like that and has sent a blast of ki at the man, who basically wet himself. I don't give a fuck about that. You will leave them alone. I don't care if you are a teacher, these girls obviously don't want you touching them. So suggest you get your fat ass out of this room before I do it for you, and trust me when I saw you don't want that, he demanded as he sent more ki at the man, who just nodded and ran out of the room like the hounds of hell were after him while he was clutching his heart. As soon as the man was gone, Naruto broke the chains on the girls and asked, Are you alright? The girls looked at him, then at each other, and then back again before they flung themselves at him and bawled their eyes out on his chest. He should have expected this. He held them close as they cried and he whispered that it was going to be okay. After about an hour, the two had calmed down. Thank you, Naruto, Tashimi said quietly. No problem, but how do you know my name? I just know about you from a friend of mine, Naruto stated. Misuzu smiled. You are one of the most popular guys in the school, kind of hard not to know about you. What they say about you is true. Oh, and what do they say about me? Naruto asked, curious. That you're one of the nicest guys around and cute, Tashimi replied with a blush. Hey, I knew I was nice, but cute is new, Naruto replied with a laugh. Say, would you two mind being friends with me? The two girls smiled at each other before nodding and kissing the boy on the cheeks. We don't mind, the girls said at the same with and giggled at the blonde's red face. The two then looked at each other, and had a gleam in their eyes that Naruto thought looked familiar to Sakura and Ino. Oh no, the blonde inwardly groaned. So you want me to be an intern for you, Dr. Marikawa? Naruto asked. Yes, the buxom blonde said with a smile. She had heard a lot about the boy from student and teachers alike. It seemed that they were right. As the school nurse, I know a lot of the medical field, but I seem to get lost a lot with other subjects. Eh? Well, that is fine. I will help out when needed, Naruto said with a smile. Hey, if I help you understand common stuff, will you teach me more about the medical field? You know some of the medical field? Shizuka asked, very interested in knowing what he knew. Yeah, my grandma taught me simple stuff like first aid and stuff like that. Oh. I don't mind helping you out if you help me out, she said with a ditzy smile. Sweet, Naruto said excitedly. Shizuka smiled at his energy. Taking a closer look at him, she thought he was very handsome, but she sadly shook those thoughts away. While she may be lonely, she could not do that, could she? Naruto was writing in his notebook on the roof. Well, it was more like sketching because there was what looked like schematics for some type of whip and then a gun or swords. However, he froze when the door to the roof burst open and crying girl ran over to the opposite end of the roof. He sighed as he figured that now he would not get any work done. He got up and walked over to the girl. He noticed that the girl had light orange hair, just like his friend Ray, but cut much shorter, and she used a hairband to keep her hair back, and she had yellow eyes. She had on the normal school uniform, and she had large breasts. Naruto crouched down so he was eye level with her and asked, Penny, for your thoughts. The girl stiffened at that and looked up to see Naruto and blushed a bit before looking away with tears in her eyes. You probably wouldn't care, she sniffed. I am here, aren't I? Naruto deadpanned before he smiled. I kind of don't know who you are, but that doesn't mean I don't care. The girl blinked rapidly at that. He didn't know who she was? Maybe she had a chance. I am Yukimiku. Nice to meet ya, Naruto said in his carefree voice. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Yuki smiled at that. She had heard about him. He was one of the nicest guys in school. Naruto smiled and asked, so, what's the matter? Yuki sighed at that. She explained to him that there were weird sayings about her just because she was very attractive, something he secretly agreed to, and even though she was a virgin, she would openly talk about sex. Naruto looked thoughtful for a moment before he said, so? Guys talk about sex all the time. But still, I have heard those rumors, and now that I have met you and you told me your story, I am going to say I believe you. So don't let what others say get to you, especially when they don't know jack shit. Yuki looked at the blonde boy in shock with a small blush dusting her cheeks. He was defiantly like the rumor said. He actually took the time to listen to her, which most didn't, and he believed her. If he had not come when he did, she would have probably gave in to those annoying speeches that Shido teacher blabbed on about. How do you know I am not lying? Most don't believe me. Naruto smiled as he stood up and playfully opened just one eye and said in a silly voice. A ninja never reveals his secrets. In truth, he could tell when people were lying, and she was not lying at all. Seeing Naruto's goofy nature, Yuki actually started to laugh. That made Naruto smile. There we go! A smile on the beautiful face, much better. So would you like to be friends? Yuki blushed hard at that compliment. Sure, guys told her that she was hot and all, but they just wanted to get in her pants. Naruto was different. He was genuinely nice and wanted to be her friend. She quietly got up before giving the blonde a hug. I would like that, she said quietly with a blush on her cheeks and smile, happy to have a real friend. Naruto had a blush as well, seeing he was hugging a really beautiful girl with rather large still. He was glad he gained another friend. He then blinked stupidly and thought, it is ironic. I am friends with all the girls on Morita's list. I wonder what he would think about this. Naruto smiled softly. He had laid down on the roof, staring out on the blue sky, cloud gazing. He had to admit, Shikamaru was a smart kid. Cloud gazing really cleared the mind, whether it be for reminiscing or actually falling asleep. He thought about all his friends and sighed. It seemed that thing had changed over the years. This was his spot, and his friends usually came up here to greet and hang out with him. Mostly it was either the band, the two he liked to call the twins, which was actually Misuzu and Tashimi, and Yuki. His first friends all had problems of their own. Takashi still would not open up to Rei's feeling for him, so she started dating Hisashi. Before she could ask him out, he said that this was their problem, and he did not want to get mixed in all of it where he would be hated. Rei smiled at him and said thank for being a good friend. She and Hisashi would come up for lunch and chat with his still, but it was not same as Takashi often did not come with them and sulked on his stairwell. Sure, he still hung out with Takashi to cheer him up, but it didn't work that often. Then there was Rei's main problem. Shido. She was held back a year because of that man grudge against her father for investigating him and his father. It was complete bullshit, but there was not much they could do about it. It was because of that Rei gained a hatred for the man, and Naruto's dislike for the man skyrocketed. He often skipped his classes with Shido, not wanting to listen to the dribble that the man would preach about. It was just ridiculous most of the time. Besides, his eyes reminded him of Orochimaru. Penny, for your thoughts? Yuki's voice asked. Naruto looked over to the girl and smiled before he got up and leaned against the fence. I just trying to figure out what to do about Takashi and Shido's I am God attitude. I seriously can't take much more of that guy. Yuki giggled before she sat next to him and laid her head on his shoulder. Don't worry too much about it. Besides, if you hadn't helped me that day, I probably would have been one of his mindless idiots. You are strong enough to resist him, Naruto said with a smile. Not at the time, wasn't. Yuki said sadly. Naruto, she said, taking her head on his shoulder and looking at him instead. Yeah? Naruto asked, looking her in the eyes. I want to thank you again for helping me that day and believing me. I don't know what I would be like if you hadn't been there for me, Yuki said with a smile as she lost herself in those ocean blue eyes of his. Naruto smiled at that. Hey, I was just doing what should have been done as a friend, he said as he began to lose himself in her eyes. Over the years, he had gotten really close to all his female friends. He had grown feelings for them and he cared deeply for them. However, Yuki really wormed her way into his heart at the moment. Like a magnet, the two friends slowly leaned toward each other. This is really happening, Yuki thought with an inward smile. However, before either of them could do the deed, Naruto put his finger to her lips, shocking her. However, that soon disappeared and turned into concern. Naruto rarely had that serious look on his face, and he had it as he looked around in worry. Wait, was his finger on her lips because he was telling her to be quiet? Something is not right. Can't you smell that? Naruto asked seriously. What smell? Yuki asked. Blood and smoke, Naruto said with narrowed eyes, scaring Yuki a bit. Then the intercom came to life. This is announcement for all the students, the voice said with a shaky voice. There is a situation taking place inside the school right now. All students must follow your teachers in an orderly fashion and evacuate. The voice then repeated itself before there was loud noise. It was quiet for a moment before get away from me. Get back. Arg. Help help. Asterisk. With that, all panic let loose and the school was filled with screaming students trying to get to safety. Yuki had a panicked look on her face and started to get up to run for her life, but Naruto's hand made her stay in place. What are you doing? We have to get out here. Think, running into the masses and getting stomped on is not the right way to go about this, Naruto said evenly, making her calm down. We need to wait till the noise dies down and think rationally about this. Okay, Yuki said, calmly breathing now as Naruto's presence calmed her. What do we need to do? Let me take a look at the city, Naruto said as he jumped on the fence and reached the top, looking out onto the chaos in the streets where people were being ripped apart by the undead. What the fuck was going on? And that was what was yelled from a few rooftops by his friend Takashi. Yep, a shitstorm had happened. Where do you see? Yuki asked nervously. Hell on earth, Naruto stated. No world is perfect. You might have to save that one since you could not with this one. Chapter 3. Naruto glared out onto the city. This was not funny, but Kurama was a demon and must have seen this coming and thought it would be funny if he tried to survive in this world. Still, he wondered why it took 3 years for this crisis to come about. Now if he was still 13 or 14, he would be freaking out to no end about all this. But he was 17 now and had a calmer head about all this. What's your game, Kurama? He said aloud, almost forget that Yuki was still there with him. Who is Kurama? Yuki asked softly, still freaked out by everything. An old friend, I guess you could call him, Naruto said, not wanting to say too much. It was like he predicted this. How can anyone predict this? Yuki shouted. The dead are freaking coming to life and eating people like in those movies. But this isn't the movies, this is the real world. This shit should not be happening, no it can't. Naruto sighed softly before he put both of his hands on her shoulders, making her face him. Listen to me, Yuki. This is happening and we will survive it. I promise that I will not let anything happen to you or my friends. That is a promise of a lifetime. Yuki looked at his deep ocean blue eyes and saw that he was telling the truth. I'll be right beside you then, she said before she took a step forward to do something she had wanted to do for a long time now. She kissed him. Naturally, Naruto was shocked that she kissed him, but he should not have been that surprised. He could tell that she had liked him for a long time and despite what he said, she wanted to let him know how she felt about him. So he kissed back for a few seconds before he broke the kiss and smiled. Yuki smiled back before a blush appeared on her cheeks before that smile turned into a seductive smirk. She put a hand between them and started rubbing his cock through his clothes. Like I said before, I am very open about sex and you seem to be very happy to see me. Naruto blushed hard at that and turned his head to the side some. Well yeah? Your body pressing up against me during the kiss, especially with your breasts on my chest, can you blame me? Nope, she said with a smile as she backed off. Now we should get out of here. True, can you fight or use weapons? Naruto asked, gaining a serious outlook. Well, my dad, fearing for my safety, had me learn to use 2 types of weapons. Knives and katars. I don't suppose you have any pocket knives on you? I'll do you one better, Naruto said as we walked over to his backpack and took out a small round and white bag. He opened it to reveal a few kunai. These are kunai, will these do? Yuki blinked before she took the bag and attached it to her school skirt. Perfect. These are rare, but my father trained me in these anyway. Good. Naruto said as he reached in his blazer and took out a silver rod about a foot long with a cylindrical arrow on the top. He pressed a button and with a swing of the rod, a long metal cable whipped out, revealing the weapon to be a whip of sorts. It was at that moment that the door to the roof burst open and a flood of them came out. If this is like the movies, aim for the head, Naruto said in a dead voice. Right. Yuki said with a frown, ready for almost anything. Let's go and get out, friends. We need to find a secure place to get away from all of this, Naruto said as they rushed forward. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Yuki duck under and swipe from one of them and then rise up to stab it in the temple. Oh, we'll be fine, he said as they surround him, and with a simple flick of his wrist, he brought the whip up and slices through their skulls. Why are they eating people? This isn't even funny, Saya Takagi thought as she and Kota Hirano stayed near the walls so they would not get in the way of the panicked masses. Can't be. This can't be happening. Can it, mommy? It's not right? A student boy mumbled aloud as he held the wound on his neck as he slowly walked the hallways. One of the undead then grabbed his face and had him for lunch. Saya and Kota took that as a good distraction and ran past them. Takagi, where do you think you are running to? Kota asked as they ran down the hall. And what exactly was your brilliant plan? She shot back rudely. I was going to talk to the teachers in the faculty room, and then he said but was cut off. That's pointless. Saya said they stopped at a door to look around before running again, this time out on a bridge on the outside of the school. What do you think a bunch of stupid teachers can do about it? But Takagi, this is just it's kinda because of this I should he could not get the right words out, and because of that, Saya stopped, prompting him to as well. I've got a question for you, she said calmly. What is it? She turned and pointed to him. Do you want to die, or do you want to live? Well, that's Kota said as he looked at the dead teacher next to him. They had the same idea as you. Let's see how that works for them, Saya said, referring to a group of students pounding on a nearby door, which leads to a faculty room. The result was not pretty. As soon as the door opened, the students were mauled by the undead. You want to live, right? Then stick with me. Kota just nodded, seeing that the loud girl he was with was his best chance to survive. Let's go, Chubby. Although he could do without the names. Takagi, I know it is against school rules, but do you have your cell phone on you? Kota asked as they sneaked through a hallway full of the undead. Okay, they were near the hallway, near a stairwell. I'm a straight A student, she stated with irritation. Besides, even if I had one, who would I call? The police, maybe? Kota offered. God, you're so stupid, Saya said. Look how serious this is, there's no way people haven't called them already. But yet we have not heard a single siren. So now you know. So this happening all over? Kota asked, truly freaked out now. You think? Saya replied sarcastically. I am sure the police are dealing with this already, but look how things are. I wonder if we should call the self-defense force or something. I would not expect much from them. I know they can't do much without the government's order, but that's not what I meant, Saya said with a twitching eyebrow. Well, what did you mean exactly? Kota asked while accidentally bumping into her. Pushing him away, she said, they're just like the police. What do you think would happen if people were eating people in all the cities out there? Listen, there are 130 million people. How many of them do you think work for the self-defense force? And what if the same things have been happening inside the self-defense force? That should have gotten the point across, but they didn't have much time left because one of them came walking down the stairs. Come on. We need to go. Okay, stuttered the gun freak. You're lucky that Naruto is in here and one of your friends. I am such a nice person. Saya growled out, irritated that he was freaking out still. Huh? You know Naruto? Kota asked as they ran. In the nurse's office, a student was freaking out while killing his friend who had become one of the undead. While that was going, Shizuka was gathering medical supplies to put in her bag. She was just act stupid and like nothing was bad, but she was actually worried and trying to ignore the undead kid in her room. What should I do? I can't get a hold of the police or the fire department. I can treat them, but they'll just die, and once they die, they'll resurrect. This is just like that George Romeo movie I saw. I don't think it is time to be impressed, the student boy said, out of breath. Let's get out of here, Miss Shizuka. Hold on a second. Let me take all the stuff I can carry, Shizuka replied as she reached in the medical cabinets. I hope Naruto-kun is okay. Just do it quickly. The student freaked out before the windows to the office broke open and they broke through. He managed to get in front of the nurse and got bit in the shoulder for his troubles. Miss Shizuka, get out of here quick. Hey, the nurse said as she backed up, clearly afraid, but putting up her stupid personality. In reality, she was much smarter thanks to Naruto, and she liked that about him. She knew she was not that smart, and he took the time to help her understand a lot. Hey, I'm sorry, what was your name again, please? What? The student asked, not believing what he heard, and his lack of attention got the better of him as he was pushed down, and the undead fell on him as well. They were about to get to the school nurse, but thankfully someone came to the rescue. If she remembered correctly, this was one of Naruto's Kendo Club members. Siko. Siko easily took them all down in a flash. When the undead were dead yet again, she walked over to the student who had been bitten and said, I am the co-captain of the Kendo Club, Siko Busujima, a sophomore. What's your name, kid? The kid coughed out some blood and stuttered out, Ishi. Ishi, you did a great job protecting Dr. Marikawa. I commend your courage, she said softly. You do know what happens to you once you get bitten. Do you want your parents and friends to see you like that? If the answer is no, I will end your life as painlessly as I can. But I've never killed anyway before. The boy stared at her for a moment, knowing it was the end for him either way, and smiled weakly. Please do that. As she took up to get ready for this, Shizuka panicked. Wait. What are you going to do? You're the school doctor, I got it, but stay out of it. This young man is going to die with honor, and I am going to make sure that he does, Siko said as she readied her wooden sword. Ishi laid back and smiled before it all went black for him. Shizuka looked on in horror, but she did not have time to grieve because they came in through the doorway this time. Siko looked at them and gave off her sadistic smile. Okay, we are here, Koda said as they entered what looked like a woodshop classroom. What do we do now? Although, I do see some things that would come in handy. Just shut up, you chubby geek, Saya growled, clearly annoyed. Lock the door so they won't come in. Koda quickly did that and turned back to the girl. I locked it. Seeing the tools laid out on the desk in front of her, he asked, Are you going to use those as weapons? You're one of those basement shut-ins, one of those military nerds or gun geeks, aren't you? Come on, you must have seen this thing before. It was in that Mel Gibson movie. A nail gun and its gas, Koda said as he observed it. Hell yeah. We won't be able to carry it around if it was one of those compressor types, right? God, you're fat and stupid, Saya sighed. So you like movies? Koda asked as he worked. Don't be ridiculous. I am a genius, so I know everything, Saya stated like it was obvious. As Koda went through all their supplies that they found, he asked a question that had been bothering him. So how do you know Naruto? Saya looked at him stupidly before saying, Simple, Komuro introduced us. The idiot was having trouble with some of his studies and I offered to help. Although our first meeting was different to say the least. Flashback. Takagi, I would like you to introduce a new friend of mine, Takashi said to his pink-haired friend in the school gym. He just moved here and well, yeah, he is new. God, you suck at introducing people, stupid, Saya shouted before she rounded on the new boy. She had to admit that he was cute, but she had to keep her genius intellect and not get a boyfriend yet. So are you going to introduce yourself, stupid? Naruto's eye was twitching. In a way, this girl was almost as bad as Sakura. Almost the same attitude. Same pink hair. He just hoped she was not as violent as Sakura. Anyway, he smiled and said, I am Naruto Uzumaki, nice to meet you. Spiraling Maelstrom? Odd name, Saya stated. Yeah, anyway, I was wondering if you could help him for me. He is a little behind, and since you are the smartest in our class, Takashi suggested. Fine. I'll tutor the new kid, but he better not be as dumb as some of the other idiots in our class, and you owe me for this, Komuro. Right, Takashi said with a wave, but was interrupted when someone ran past him, bumping into him and pushing Naruto forward. Naruto tried to regain his balance any way he could. Unfortunately, that meant grabbing onto Saya, or more specifically her breasts. After that, it was deathly silent as Takashi stared and wondered if Naruto had some of the weirdest luck in the world. Naruto paled at what he did. This girl was almost like Sakura, and if she had her temper, then he was screwed. He saw that Saya was about to make a move, so he quickly let go of her and got on his hands and knees. Please don't kill me, Miss Takagi. Saya, who had been about to scream at him, blinked rapidly at what she heard from the boy. This boy was not like the others. If a normal boy had done that, they would have been a pervert about it. However, this blonde apologized about like she was going to hurt him. Did he have some back experience when he was younger that prompted this odd behavior? It is okay, just don't do it again, stupid, she said with a blush. Takashi had his jaw on the floor. He was sure after all that, Naruto's head was going to be in the floor, but Saya just accepted his apology. It was just like with Rei. This kid was amazing. End flashback. Koda wanted to laugh at what he heard, but he controlled himself as he worked on the nail gun. You're right, that meeting was a bit different. But what made you be friends after that incident? Saya smiled. He had a lot of problems with schoolwork. He didn't understand a lot of what was taught, like he was from some other world. But when I helped him, he understood it very quickly. And from the way he behaved with other girls and me, it was different. He is not like the other guys in this school. He is respectful. And that makes him an enigma to me, and I have always thought different. To me, he is one big puzzle. Kota smiled at that. Naruto was an enigma. Glad I am not the only one who thinks that, but it sounds like you have a small crush on him. Don't be stupid, Saya said quickly as she turned the other way. She had a blush on her cheeks. How could she not have a thing for him? That incident happened more than once, and he was always saying sorry quickly, like he was afraid of something. He was such a nice guy that she needed to solve, and that led her to liking him. However, those thoughts were put on hold as the door to the room was being banged on by them. Luckily, Kota was done just as the door burst open and they flooded in, and he managed to shoot them all down with nails. Gotcha, he said with an insane smirk. Hirano? Saya asked, a bit shocked. It was at that moment that Takashi and Rei decided to move out as well, and they were using a nearby hose. Hey, all they had to do was knock them over and so they could fall on their heads and stay dead. It was simple, right? Turn it on, Takashi ordered. As soon as the water came, he was not prepared for backlash of the powerful water hose. They were starting to come through, so he needed to get this thing under control, and soon. Yeah! Naruto shouted as he used his whip to cut one of them in half vertically. It was easy, but those things were very stupid. It was like they could not see and relied on hearing. If that was the case, this was easier than he thought. Still, he could not find his friends anywhere. That and chakra sensing was out because something of interfering with his senses. He just could not figure it out, but he did feel something dark. Looking over to Yuki, he was surprised that she was using 6 kunai. 3 in each hand, and was stabbing and slashing with ease. That made things easier for him because she knew how to fight. You see the drill and the nails over there? Kota asked as he kept on shooting. Will you put them in a bag or something? Excuse me? You're nobody to me, what makes you think you can order me around? Saya said, clear offended. He looked back at her with his killer face, freaking her out, before the face changed into a smile. Pretty please with sugar on top? Sighed, the pink-haired girl relented. All right. Takashi! Rei shouted in worry. I'm okay. I didn't like most of you fucks then, and I sure as hell don't like you now, he replied before he managed to redirect the hose toward the blockage they set up and blasted all of them away from them. This hose was powerful. He had to wonder what it was even used for in this school. Here. You hold this bag. Saya ordered her chubby partner before she headed to the door. Can I ask you something? Kota asked. What? Well, why are you with me? Why? Because I am such a nice person, Saya said, so full of herself. Yeah, I can see that. Oh well, Kota said with sigh as he should not be surprised. He then straightened up and became serious as he held his nail gun at the ready. Hey, you're on the ball all of a sudden, Saya said with a smile. Something click in you or what? I think I found my calling, Kota said excitedly before they rushed out of the room to escape this place. Now let's go and find Naruto. I am sure he had found some other survivors. Right. Saya agreed. With the both of them, they would surely survive this ordeal. We can get out of this together, right, Misuzu? A girl asked as she and her friend ran through the library. They had been smart enough to not run with the masses and get caught in the panic. Right, Tashimi, Misuzu said with a confidence. Thanks to Naruto, we knew how to fight like street fighters and use swords. We should try and find him. Good plan, Tashimi stated before something caught her foot. It seemed that one of them had caught her foot as it crawled up the stairs in the library. It was about to pull her down, but a whipping sound was heard and the undead freak reeled back and fell down the stairs, taking others with it. There were thunk sounds and they looked behind them to see more undead dead. They looked up to see Naruto and Yuki. Naruto! Yuki! They shouted with joy. I heard someone was looking for me, Naruto said cheekily. Yeah, we are glad you found us. This is nuts, Tashimi said, looking around her to make sure none of them were coming. I know, but we need to find my other friends and get the hell out of this place. We need a safer location, Naruto said seriously. The girls nodded before they took off with them to find the others. However, the girls strayed behind him to talk to Yuki. So? Tashimi asked. I managed to kiss him before we left, she said with a smirk. Misuzu smirked. The three were friends thanks to the blonde and had a rivalry to get his love, but they also banded together to make sure other girls didn't get him. However, now was different. She wondered if all three of them could have him. Only time will tell. It was then Naruto heard what sounded like gunshots but not quite the same. Sounds like Kota has a new toy. I think that is near the faulty room. Come on. If you keep shooting them, how will we learn about them? Saya said, having already learned quite a lot. Their senses, except for their hearing, were dead. You know, you could help me fight them too, Kota countered. You stupid fat idiot, that is what I have you for. Saya freaked. The magazine is almost empty. You think that's my problem? Saya shouted, hurry up and just reload it. But they're right behind you. See? Kota said weakly. Saya looked and let out a shrill scream, alerted everyone and everything to their position. Fuck. That's Saya. Naruto growled out. He knew didn't have much time left to save his friend. He was a floor above her, exactly above her. Tsunade, I hope this works. I have my chakra control up to snuff even though I still can use nin or genjutsu. Get behind me. Naruto ordered the girls and they got right behind them, wondering what he was going to do. He lifted up a leg and... Get away! Saya screamed as her eyes searched for a way to defend herself. She had already used some of the nearby trophies, but they just shattered upon impact to the undead's head. Her last resort was the drill. As soon as it connected, Rei, Takashi, Siko, and Shizuka appeared on the scene, and the room shook violently before some of the ceiling fell a few feet away from the girl as she fought for her life. Naruto and the girls he was traveling with appeared out of the dust. It only took him a few seconds for him to analyze the situation before he ordered, Go! Get Kota and get behind the wall. The girls nodded, not wanting to argue with him, before they grabbed onto the shell-shocked boy and ran to the others. They all got to safety, but they were curious, so they peeked to see him in action. Naruto was already upon Saya. He used his whip to grab onto the thing and pull it away from his pink-haired friend. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw 4 more of them appear in the hallway and smirked. He redirected the undead in his whip, while also grabbing the drill away from Saya so that she would not hurt him or herself. As he dropped the drill, he took out 2 marbles with seals etched onto them before tossed them over to the slowly approaching undead as the whip left the undead it was holding. The undead crashed into the other undead students just as the now glowing marbles reached them. Thinking quickly, Naruto grabbed onto Saya and shielded her from the resulting blast that shook the building. All this happened in under a minute. After recovering from their shock, the group came back into a hallway that led to the faculty room to see the area with the former undead, full of burnt flesh and debris. Whatever Naruto had done had practically destroyed that part of the school. Noticing their position before Saya did, Naruto saw that in shielding the girl, he had grabbed the girl's breasts again. He quickly removed himself away from her while muttering sorry. However, she noticed none of this as she gazed at the nearby mirror that was in the trophy case. It and her were covered in blood from it. Rei and Shizuka ran up to her in worry as Naruto stood off to the side. Siko, Misuzu, Tashimi, and Yuki not far behind. Siko decided to speak. You all know the school Dr. Marikawa, right? And I am Siko Busujima from Class 3A. Naruto's Kendo Club friend. Takashi said, recognizing her name. I am Takashi Koromo from Class 2B. Miss Busujima, I remember you won the national championship last year with Naruto. I'm Rei Miyamoto, I am in the Spear Martial Arts Club. I am Kota Hirano from Class B, just FYI. Nice to meet you, Siko said with a smile, getting a gasp from the boy as he was not used to having hot girls talk to him. I am Yuki Miku. Tashimi Nikki, the girl said with a smile. Misuzu Ichiju, the other girl stated. I guess I don't need an introduction. Naruto chuckled, but call me Naruto Uzumaki. It was at this time that Saya regained some of herself. Why are you guys being so warm and fuzzy? Why are you being so polite to her, Miyamoto? You flunked last year, you are same age, she is not your elder. What are you talking about, Takagi? Kota asked while Naruto grimaced. He knew what going on. This was what he called the snap for situations like this. He had his in the ninja world early on. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. I am smarter than all of you combined. You should be lucky I am in the same school as you. Saya shouted. I may. Siko put a hand on her shoulder and said, It's okay. That's enough. Saya looked at herself in the mirror again and mumbled out. Look at me. All these blood stains, now mom will have to take it to the cleaners. Naruto walked up to her and looked at her from the mirror. She saw the sadness in his eyes like he knew what she was going through. Which was true since he went through the same in the ninja world when he made his first kill. Of course, they didn't know that part. She couldn't stand it and began to cry her eyes out in Siko's chest. Naruto didn't like it when his friends cried, not at all. So he turned to the windows so no one saw the tear that escaped his eye. It was a few minutes later that the door to the faculty room swung open, putting them on guard. Thankfully, it was normal human who had not been bitten. It was none other than Kyoko. She looked at them the state of the hallway in a bit of panic. That explosion must have been caused by them. She was happy as it got rid of the undead near the door. She half smiled when she saw Naruto but then got serious and said, "What are you all doing out there? Get in here." "My god! What happened to your back?" Kyoko asked when she saw Naruto's back. To be expected, Naruto's back was a little crispy. The school blazer was burnt in places, and what looked like shrapnel was lodged in his back. "Oh, I kind of shielded Saya from the explosion I created. I have been wondering about that along with that strange weapon you have," Siko replied, thinking he would have a sword instead. "Yeah, and why were you carrying around these kunai anyway?" Yuki asked, now asking the question that had been on her mind for a while now. "Let me take out the shrapnel while you talk," Shizuka stated as she got behind him and started her work. "Yeah, thanks." These things were starting to get uncomfortable. Naruto stated. "First of all, Takashi, Kota, don't bother with the barricade on the door." "Huh? Why?" Takashi asked. "Simple. Mercy." Naruto started but cried out in pain as one of the shrapnel was taken out as it was lodged deep. "Those things are not too smart. If we make a lot of noise, they will come and bang down the door." "Oh. I think it would be useless to make a barricade because if they get it, they will form a line just to get in, and that makes it easier for us to kill them off. Now imagine they all piled up on the door, damn to get in, and they break through the wall with their unnatural strength. We would be fighting a horde of them instead of a straight line that could, be easy for us to kill." "Wow, I never thought of that," Takashi replied in shock. It seemed that the others were shocked as well. This was a new level of thinking for the blonde that they had never seen before. It was interesting. "And the bombs?" Saya asked, coming out of the nearby bathroom with glasses on. Naruto turned his head to her and raised an eyebrow. "Glasses, huh? Nice, gives you a more distinguished look." That made the girl have a light blush, something that most of the girls noticed. "Simple, they are marbles with explosive seals etched onto them." "Seals? What are those?" Misuzu asked, seeing something new. "Let's just say that I was taught how to use our body's natural energy, and use these drawings by my godfather and leave it at that," Naruto said, serious, not leaving any room for argument as he did not want to tell them where he was from just yet. "What all can you do with these seal things?" Kyoko asked. "The possibilities are said to be limitless, but I am not a true seal master, so I don't really have a clue what all they can do. I can make things explode and do other simple things." Naruto shrugged before he winced as he bit back a curse as another piece of shrapnel was taken out of his back. "And that whip?" Yuki asked. "Something of my own design," Naruto said. "You guys have seen me writing in my notebook all this year, correct?" They all nodded at that. He was always doodling and they often wondered what he was actually doing. Now they knew. "I have created a few weapon designs for later and made them at a local weapon shop in town." Took me by surprise that we have a weapon shop. "What all have you made?" Siko asked. "Yuki, hand me my bag please," Naruto asked politely. When she gave him his bag, he took out a notebook that they all recognized. Turning a few pages, they saw a drawing of the whip, Kota saw a gun design, and a few other things they didn't get a good look at. Soon he stopped at a page filled with intricate design that made them wonder what they were for. Reached to his back, he wiped some blood on his hand and then wiped it on the page. Now that threw them off guard. What was blood going to do? Apparently more than they though, because the drawings glowed bright blue for a second before 3 more rod-like devices popped out. "Unfortunately I only have 3 of these, so, Tashimi, Misuzu, take these as I have trained you in how to use katanas." "They are just rods," Takashi interrupted. "Nope," Naruto said with a smile before he pressed a button and a blade shot out. Retractable katana. The 2 girls blinked before they reached out and took the katanas. "Siko, are you okay with your weapon sword?" "For now I am," Siko replied with a smile, happy that he asked her about that. "Alright then. Seeing as you two don't have a weapon, who wants it?" Naruto asked Saya and Kyoko. "I'll pass," Saya deadpanned. She did not want to deal those things up close and personal again. "I am more of a recreational bow and arrow user, but I guess I could use that," Kyoko replied as she took the weapon. Naruto nodded before he rounded on Takashi and asked, "Where are Hisashi and Morita?" At Takashi and Rei's sad look, he assumed that they were dead. "Right, so what the plan?" Naruto asked, serious as Shizuka was finally done, but she wondered how he healed so quickly. She'll ask that later. "Are you all planning on leaving this place or staying here?" "We were going to leave," Takashi replied. "Dr. Marikawa, do you have any car keys?" "Oh, it's in my purse somewhere," the school nurse replied as she searched her purse. "Are you sure your car is big enough to fit all of us?" Siko asked, which was a valid question. "Well, now that I think about it," she said with a sweat drop as she thought of her little bug. "What about the microbus that we use for the club's away games? Looks like the keys are on the wall hook," Siko asked. "That should work," Naruto stated. "It is big enough." Hey guy, I see the bus. Kota offered as he looked out the windows. Now that we have transportation, where are we going? Naruto asked. Seriously, Naruto was like a different person now. Saya inwardly steamed at this. Just when I think I have him figured out, he pulls all this crap out. We are going to make sure our families are okay. Takashi said, we'll start with the family who lives closest from here. If you are worried about your family, we'll bring them with us. After that, we'll look for a safe place and... He paused as he saw Ray staring at the TV screen. What's wrong? Saya asked. What is this? Ray whispered in horror, as they all got up to see what was on the TV. The government has been considering measures against the outbreaks in locations around the city. Outbreaks? What do they mean, outbreaks? Takashi asked. So, it is not an isolated incident, this is really happening all over the place. Naruto sighed. Asterisk, it's been feared that more than 10,000 have been victimized in the Saitama areas. For the governor has already dashed asterisk gunshots. Asterisk has already declared a state of emergency, and requested the emergency disaster relief. It's a gunshot. It seems that the police are finally using firearms. From what I can see here, no, asterisk. The camera fell over and they escaped them. The group stared at the screen in horror. Naruto glared and growled out. This is bad. After the remote camera shut off and the TV went to the studio camera, Naruto stopped paying attention to the TV. However, Takashi was growing pissed. He slammed his fist on a nearby desk and growled out, is that all? Why didn't they tell us anything else? They're afraid of causing a panic, Saya informed. A panic? Ray asked. Yeah, you idiot. Saya declared, first panic then chaos, and chaos causes a disruption of order. And then, when order is disrupted, well, you should just hand it over to the walking corpses. As the TV went on tell them about how the government is declaring martial law, the group stopped listening as well. So they are everywhere. Takashi sighed as they saw a picture of the White House, where the disease was said to originate in America. That's crazy, Kota said. Everything was normal when I checked the internet this morning. Ray started mumbling about how everything was going to be alright, trying to reassure herself more than anything. She unconsciously grabbed a hold of Takashi and Naruto's sleeves for a few seconds. Everything is going to go back to normal, right? That's not going to happen, Saya stated bluntly. Why do you have to be so blunt about it? Takashi deadpanned. This is a pandemic. There's nothing we can do, Saya said. Oh, a pandemic, Shizuka said worriedly. It is the outbreak of infectious disease. The entire world is experiencing the same outbreak. So what? This is some sort of epidemic? Takashi offered. I don't think this could have happened by accident. Naruto thought aloud to himself as to what it all could be. Stuff like this doesn't happen in a matter of minutes, or even hours. This is exactly like the Spanish flu in 1918, Saya said to herself aloud. More than 600 million got infected and 50 million died from it. Remember how much a panic swine flu caused? Well, square that. All these diseases up top, this is just nuts, Naruto thought as he listened to the group. Not to be disagreeable, but I think this is more like the Black Death from the 14th century, Shizuka replied, making the twins' sweat drop. They had learned about that, and it was scary. 1/3 of the European population died. You're smarter than you look, Saya commented. So how did the outbreak finally end? Takashi asked curiously. Well, there are many theories, Shizuka replied. It usually stops when too many humans die. There wouldn't be enough people to spread the disease. But now, all the dead people move and start attacking you, Kota replied as he looked out the window. We might as call this disease the T-virus, Naruto said, making Kota smirk. What are you two talking about? Yuki asked. Resident Evil reference. Naruto smirked, making the girl roll her eyes. That works though, Takashi said with wide eyes. Hisashi said we shouldn't call these zombies, but them. So T-virus works for me. Siko decided to ignore the boys' conversation and asked, are you saying that there is no reason for this outbreak to stop? Shizuka tried to think up something while acting stupid by offering a suggestion about the summer heat, but that would take a long time for them to die. They didn't have that time. Okay, she is not smarter than she looks, Saya sighed. So what are you saying? Takashi asked. Medical logic doesn't apply to those dead corpses that move around and attack humans. Worst case scenario, they might never decompose, Saya offered. First thing we must find out if our families are okay, Siko said. Then we need to find a safe place to hold up for a while. But no matter where we go, we are going to need a plan. Teams. We need to team up. I agree on that, Yuki replied. Going out of this place is the best way to survive since most of us know how to fight. She then noticed Naruto looked frozen, almost in shock. Kyoko was the one to ask, however, Naruto, is there something wrong? Yeah, Naruto said with a gulp. They still have chakra. Huh? The stuff you use for some of the things you do? Saya asked, understanding his explanation of chakra. Yeah. Normally, when people die, they lose their chakra. It just dissipates. However, that dark feeling I got when I was trying to locate all of you was interfering with my senses. They have retained their chakra and it helps to make them stronger like we have seen. It is just so dark, Naruto said. So what does that mean? Tashimi asked. It means we have to be more careful, Naruto said. Got it, Siko replied. No, they were in more danger now. Let's try to pick up survivors wherever we can so they don't fall to this fate. Let's do it, Takashi replied, agreeing with his friend and the kendo girl. He was thinking like Naruto. This was not normal. What's the best way out of here? Ray asked. Sorry to break it to you, stupid, but we're just going to have to go out the front, Saya said. Let's go, Naruto said as they were finally ready to kick some of their asses. As soon as they opened the door, they saw 3 zombies, which were easily taken down by Naruto, Takashi, and Kota. At the back of the group, Yuki looked to Kyoko and asked, So how did you survive? Well, I was there when the first of them came to our school. It bit one of the other teachers. I stood in shock that he just died from the single bite, but when it seemed that he was okay. He got up, but I noticed the dead look in his eye and the already graying skin. He came for me, but I roughly smacked his head away and ran. I heard the screams of others and ran faster like a coward, Kyoko said sadly. No, you were just scared and trying to survive, Saya said, understanding her teacher's words. They soon were almost, but far from the bus. It was on another part of the schoolyard. Let me make something clear. There's no need to engage in a fight unless absolutely necessary. Do whatever you can to avoid a fight, you go it. Siko informed them, but she had a feeling that Naruto wouldn't have many problems. Remember, they're sensitive to sound, so keep it quiet. Saya offered her observations. And they are strong enough to rip through regular doors, and once they have a hold on you, they're going to tear you to shreds. So be careful. As they made their way to an outside bridge, they heard a scream. On a walkway underneath them, a group of 5 students. 3 average-looking guys, one of which, Naruto knew the name of, Takuzo, he thought it was. One of the girls, Naomi, said her boyfriend's name in fright, confirming what Naruto thought. Takuzo has black hair and brown. He wore the normal school uniform. He also has a sports towel hanging around his neck. Naruto growled as he saw they were being cornered by them, so he ordered Kota to take it out. Shoot it, Naruto said. Right, Kota said as he shot his nail gun at it, and it slumped to the ground, something Takuzo was extremely grateful for as he relaxed somewhat. Naruto brought out the odd rod he created, and this time, it morphed into similar to his retractable katanas. Not wasting any time, he jumped down the walkways with Rei, Siko, and Takashi, taking them out as they went. The rest of the group not far behind. Yuki had more experience than the rest of the small that didn't already charge in. She took it upon herself to keep them safe. Thank you? The girl, Naomi, said softly. Keep it down, Siko said softly as well. Is anyone bitten yet? What? No, no one, Naomi replied. It looks okay, we'll be alright, Rei said happily. Takashi walked down to them and said, We're getting out of there. Yeah, so come with us if you want to live, Naruto said seriously. Takuzo's eyes widened when he saw Naruto. He had actually seen Naruto fight at some of the kendo tournaments, and had to admit that Naruto was good. He felt safer already. He had his group nodded as they then made their way to the front building. Now was the time to leave this place. The large group made their way to the front of the building, and now they were once again in a stairwell, only, this one led to their freedom from this place. All they had to do was get past the walking dead down below. Easy, right? Man, there are a bunch of them, Takashi said. Got that right. We'll have to move quickly. I should have figured that with all the panic, they would run for the front door, Naruto said. From what I can tell, the only things they react to are sounds, Saya stated. They can't see us, so it is pointless to hide from them. Why don't you go down there and prove that theory? Takashi said rudely, making Saya growl a bit. But even if we keep going through the inside of the school, once we get attacked, we're going to be stuck, Siko said. We have to go through the gate, we don't have any choice, Rei said, not wanting to stay there anymore. Someone needs to go and confirm Takagi's theory, Siko said. Don't suppose you want to? Takashi sighed. He was getting antsy about all this and was about to volunteer himself, albeit reluctantly, but thankfully, Naruto beat him to it. I got it covered. What? Yuki almost shouted. That is a crazy idea. Yeah, I'll go instead, Rei offered, not wanting one of her oldest friend to just die. No, I think I should go first, Siko said, not wanting her kendo partner to die over this. Maybe I should go, Kyoko replied, still in teacher mode. Don't worry, Naruto said with a warm smile that made them relax a little. Just please stand by. I have the ninja skills to escape them if anything should go wrong. But why you? Rei asked, afraid for her friend. Naruto shrugged. I don't know, it feels like the right thing to do. Takashi put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and said, Don't do something stupid, I already lost one friend to this, don't you be next. Naruto just smiled before silently going down the steps. This would be so much easier if I could still use ninjutsu. I'd burn them all down, he said to himself quietly, getting an odd look from Takashi. The group, mostly the girls, all looking on in worry for their friend as he made it to the bottom of the stairs and just stood there as they just walked on by him. Okay, they are blind. Good work, Saya-chan. Now to make a distraction. He walked over to the wall and leaned on it before a foxy smirk crossed his face. He slid his foot along the tiles, making a loud squeaky noise that mostly happened when you have wet shoes. The group tenses at that as all of them converged on him. Naruto just smiled before he walked up the wall, back over to the large group. Ready to go? What the hell was that? Saya whispered harshly as she stomped on his foot. Making a distraction, Naruto offered weakly. Idiot! Saya growled out. Rei and Yuki decided to punch him in the stomach while Siko smacked the back of his head. Takashi held in a laugh at that as mostly all the girls in the group whacked him. Naruto glared and asked, Are you going to help me? Nope, Takashi said with a large smile. As they were finally leaving the building, a student they picked up, who was rather slow, had his weapon accidentally tap the railing for the stairwell. It echoed rather loudly. And here I thought his squeak was loud. What the hell? Run! Takashi yelled when he saw all of the undead stop what they were doing before and then converge to their spot. The group they picked up didn't need to be told twice. They were gone before anyone could say anything. Why did you open your mouth? Saya shouted. We could have made it by taking care of the ones close by if you hadn't said anything. However, Takashi froze when he saw one of them appear behind the pink-haired girl. Luckily, Siko bashed it away. The noise would have echoed anyway. Just start swinging, Rei ordered. Koda was trying to take aim at all the ones near them and said, There are too many. Naruto put a calming hand on his friend's shoulder and said, Don't worry about it. Naruto then gained a seriously outlook and in a commanding voice said, Koda, provide long-range support, protect us from the back. Yuki, Misuzu, Tashimi, and Mrs. Kyoko have got you back in that field, protect them along with Saya and Miss Shizuka and they'll protect you. Siko, Takashi on my flanks, Rei, middle ground behind me. Let's move out. The group looked stunned at Naruto's combat/military commands, but soon got into gear. Saya's opinion of her blonde crush was growing and more questions were popping up. He has military experience now? He never even acted like that before, she thought frantically. And Kakashi said I never learn anything about teamwork from him. Faye, that was the Uchiha, you hypocrite. Naruto thought as he bashed any undead that got him his way, Takashi, Siko, and Rei got any that he missed. Come on, we have to go and get out Straggler back. Soon, they did manage to get a bit separated from the rest of the group because of the overwhelming number of undead students. Thankfully, Yuki and Koda were taking a lot down for their part of the group. Naruto found himself alone with his three frontliners a little ways away from him, and he was getting surrounded by them. Fine, you want you play, let's play. Siko heard this and her eyes widened. Naruto was holding back on these things. The more she fought alongside him, the more she learned, especially with Naruto's new stance. He had the blade over his shoulder like he was holding Buster's sword. That was soon true as the strange weapon he was holding, lit up with the blue glow of seals and chakra and it morphed into a long Buster sword that looked like Zabuza's sword, yet smaller since the blade was stretched out. Naruto spun and the heads of the undead student all started to roll on the ground. He then hacked his way to one of the first stranglers, Takuzo, who was being manhandled by any undead student because it had gotten a hold of his sports towel. Naruto chopped off its arms before it could do anything and freed the student. Go! To the bus, he ordered. His girlfriend, Naomi, cried happily as his boyfriend ran up to her, unharmed. What is with the sappiness? Come on, Saya ordered. I understand, Shizuka said as her hair covered her eyes and looked over to Naruto, but the Rei and Saya didn't notice that last part. If the entire world turned into this, I'd rather die with the person that I love. Oh, shut up, Dr. Bleeding Heart, Saya said, not fully understanding the concept of love yet. Look out, Koda said as he shot a nail past her so the zombie would die. Don't you worry, Takagi. Oh, you rude little otaku. How dare you interrupt me while I am taking? Why would you do that? Simple, you Naruto's friend, so I'd like to think of you as a friend as well. Can't you die on me? Kota said. Nice to see that you two are getting along, Siko stated when she saw that Saya had a small blush on her face, though she didn't know why. Thankfully, they had gotten near the bus. Miss Shizuka. The key, Takashi ordered as he bashed in some undead heads with his bat. Yeah, now would be a great time to go, Naruto shouted with his sword back to katana mode as he sliced up some undead near them. I agree, I am getting tired of this, Yuki said, panting. The twins looked a little worn out as well alone with Kyoko. This was hard. Right, the Boston nurse said as she opened the door to the bus and got into the driver's seat. Of course this was a lot different than her little car, so she had to reacquaint herself with the controls. While that was going on, Kota had opened a window to take aim at the nearing undead. Come on, let's go, Naruto said as the frontliners finished off most of the ones near the bus. You go, Takashi said to Rei and Siko. Ladies first? So does that mean you are going in before me? Naruto joked around with his friend. Takashi gained a tick mark on his head, but smirked. No, just get in there. Naruto chuckled at that. Even in this situation, Naruto could still joke around. As he got in and opened a window himself, he and the other noticed more normal people rushing up to escape with them. Who's that? Takashi asked. That's Mr. Shido, Siko said, a little on edge from what Naruto said about him. Naruto and Rei got a bit angry when they heard about him coming to them. Wait just a little bit longer, Takashi ordered, hoping to save more people. They're in front of us. Any more and we won't be able to drive through here, Shizuka replied aloud. Run them down, Takashi said. If Doctor tries to run over that many, we'll flip the bus, Saya stated. As Takashi was able to leave to the bus to help the new group, Rei stopped him. We don't have to save him. Jesus! What do you mean we don't have to save him? Takashi yelled back. We don't have to help him. We should just leave him here to die, Rei yelled back. I agree, Naruto thought with a grim look as he watched the man. Shizuka, whatever happens, just keep moving the bus when you start to move. Huh? The nurse asked, but just nodded anyway, wondering what he was going to do. Naruto jumped out of the window and onto the bus's roof, much to everyone's shock. He looked up just in time to see that Shido was talking rudely to a downed student, and then kicking him into a group of undead students. No, that kid won't die like that. Naruto growled out and threw some exploding marbles out there, hoping to catch Shido in them, but the crazy teacher managed to escape into the bus with the other students. All right, Shizuka, move. Hang on, Shizuka told the group, hoping Naruto could from where he was, and punched on the gas. The bus speeded toward the gates, but there was a sea of undead in front of them and was about to stop, but Naruto's words kept her going. They're not humans anymore, they're not people anymore, they're not alive anymore. She screamed as she started running them down. Naruto took an opportunity to throw out more exploding marbles, making larger explosions that the bus zoomed through before it finally broke through the gates and they sped down the road. Naruto, seeing no more danger, jumped in through the window he opened, shocking the newer group. And that's how you take out a shitload of undead, he said with a bow as the entire group's sweat dropped, but Shido narrowed his eyes at him, not trusting the boy who would not take his lectures to heart. Can't believe we did it, Takashi said as Naruto plopped down in a seat near him. Yeah, Kota said as he checked the tape on his nail gun. I knew we could, Naruto said with a smile. Thank God we did, Shido said as he walked down the aisle of the bus before coming to Siko and asked, I take it you have been appointed leader? There's no such thing. We just work together in order to live, that's all, Siko replied with wiping the blood off her kendo blade. That's not good, Shido stated with sick glee in his eyes. Here we go, Naruto thought as he heard that tone of voice from Shido and somehow knew he was going to lecture soon. In order to survive, we are defiantly going to need a leader. A leader who bears everything, he said in a sick whisper, already thinking of how he is going to lead them. With valor, with confidence. You'll regret this, Rei said to Takashi in a harsh whisper. I'll guarantee that you'll regret that you helped him. I agree, Naruto said under his breath. The city, a student shouted out as they passed it. They were on the outskirts of the city, on high rise, and they say the place in flames. Lots of shit had to have gone down in there. The sun was beginning to set as they ran over an undead as they passed the Seven Sun Station. Of course the caretaker in the little shop by the ocean was obvious to this as he stared dumbly at the TV. Shit, a deep-voiced male student with 2 colored hair complained. Like I said, it is only dangerous if we keep going. First of all, why do we have to go with Komuro, Uzumaki, and the others? That made Naruto's group glare at the complained teen. You are the ones who decided to back to the city. Maybe we should have looked for a safe place inside the school, If you asked me, we were better off where we were. He's right, I kind of agree with Sonoda, another student from Shido's group said. He had long dark hair. We should barricade ourselves some. He was interrupted by Shizuka slamming on the brakes. Okay, you all, that's enough. I can't focus on the driving with all this yelling. Yeah, whatever, Sonoda said as he was momentarily distracted by the nurse's huge jugs. How about you tell me what you want to do? Siko said to the two-haired color boy. Sonoda grunted as he gained an irritated look as he pointed to Naruto and Takashi. I just can't stand either of these guys. I hate them. Geez. Koda growled out and was about to shoot him if he tried anything, but Saya stopped him. Why? What the hell did either of us ever do to you? Takashi asked. I don't even know you. You know. He growled out as he charged him, but Rei whacked him in the gut with the side of her handmade spear, dropping him in the ground in a heap. Asshole. Rei stated. Actually no, we don't, Naruto said lazily. Clapping was then heard as Shido walked up to them. Bravo. Simply outstanding teamwork. I'm impressed. I commend both of you. Takashi looked hardened when he heard that. They didn't even do much. And he left out Naruto. Maybe there was something to Rei and Naruto's hatred for the guy. A conflict like that only proves my point. We need a leader. We do, Shido stated with a slight hiss in his voice. Surely neither of you wants such a difficult responsibility on your shoulders. So you're going to run for the position then? Saya stated as he adjusted her glasses, being mindful of this man. I'm a teacher, Miss Takagi, and while mature, all of you are barely in your teens. That alone makes it very clear who's more qualified to assume such a role. I have experience. Why, just moments ago I saved all these brave students. He gestured dramatically to his little group. What do you say, guys? I am a teacher too. Geez, no wonder most of the students don't like him, and I can understand why Shizuka calls him a douche. He is such a dramatic ass. Kyoko though with a frown. Besides, from what I have seen, Naruto is a better leader. Unfortunately, his group started clapping and Sonoda smiled from his spot on the floor. Takuzo and Naomi were the only ones from their group who didn't agree with him. Thankfully, they were sitting with Naruto's group, who also didn't like Shido. Seeing the students in the back clap for him, Shido bowed. There, it's been decided. The majority seems to have made the choice quite clear, yes? Naruto saw that Rei was shaking and was about to just walk out the bus door, so he decided to interrupt Shido's high. Bullshit, he said as he cracked his whip and made it go around Shido's neck tightly. He also added a fair amount of ki right at the man. Some felt it, but Shido was getting the full blast. The entire bus quieted down at that and some, mostly the back, looked in fear of Naruto. What? Shido got out. You are forgetting the front of the bus, we don't agree with you. Personally, I don't give a shit if you were a teacher. Like you said to that kid before you bashed his face in and left him to die, the world has changed. But you know, that last part is wrong. The weak do belong in this world. They are the brains while the rest are the muscle. Naruto started. The world has changed, that much is certain, but choosing a leader right away is not the smart way of going through things. One has to prove to the others that they are leadership material. You don't just choose yourself through petty lectures that you are a great person. At this point, Naruto's eyes gained their slits as he upped the ki on the man. Other than started to feel it as well, but not as bad. If you want to be a leader, prove your worth and not by those annoying lectures about how you are a teacher with experience. That crap has come and gone now. It doesn't matter what you were in the past, all that remains is the present. His face grew angry. However, I won't blindly follow someone with eyes like yours. What do you mean? Shido managed to speak. Your eyes are the windows to your soul and I see dark emotions in them. I see a twisted soul like a man I once knew. His name was Orochimaru. He was like you. He liked to manipulate people and use them until he was done with them and then he had them killed. But is not the worst that he did? Takashi and the other were listening intently. They didn't know much about Naruto's past because he didn't talk a lot about it. This was a chance to learn more about him. He experimented on people of all ages. Naruto said in a chilling voice, making everyone's eyes widen and shivered at that thought. Although, he wasn't always a psycho. He was famous warrior in my old village. He and other man, my father, were in the running to be the next leader. But the old man didn't choose his student, he chose my father. Naturally that made Orochimaru pissed beyond belief, and he grew twisted. You two are very much alike. Shido's eyes widened when he heard that story. He was sweating bullets now. You see, I heard about you in the news. Dear old dad didn't choose you to be his political successor, did he? Naruto mocked the man, making his give off a weak glare despite the ki being directed at him. The man chose the other son that he had with his mistress. A corrupt politician didn't choose his eldest son, and that says something. Shut up. Shido managed to say, but he was ignored. Daddy didn't see the potential in you. You didn't have what it takes. Naruto growled out. Yeah, I see that corrupted you. I see that within your soul, and you are going to end up just like Orochimaru. Naruto said as he surveyed the bus, looking at everyone momentarily. I also see that not everyone on this bus gets along. So when we make it to a safer location, we can split if you all want, but not now. Naruto turned back to Shido and said, just know one thing, Shido, if you harm any one of my friends, I'll you myself with one push of a button. With just one push, I'll electrocute your ass. Shido's mind was in a panic as he eyed the whip that held his neck. This kid who barely attended his classes was challenging him for leadership. He was also scaring the shit out of him, and all the brat is doing is sitting on his seat, speaking to him with a whip at his throat. This little brat will pay. This just made no sense. And what makes you qualified to lead this group? What do you know about surviving? Naruto looked at him with a deadpan expression. Simple, I know I can survive in this new world because I have been surviving on the streets since I was kicked out of the orphanage at 3. Trust me, I know how to survive. Naruto said as he tightened the whip around Shido some more. Oh my, he is an orphan. Wait, so does that mean his parents died when he was younger? Shizuka thought. The others had similar thoughts while also thinking on how he knew his parents. For Saya, this all just brought more questions to the table. She admired his will to survive though. Naruto looked at the other again and said, you should all know this one little saying that a mentor of mine once said. Those who abandon the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. He said the last part while glaring at Shido for the kid he got killed. He then let go of the man, who rubbed his neck as the ki dissipated. Rei was a bit disappointed that Naruto didn't just kill the man, but she saw that her group all had smiles on their faces as they looked at Naruto. He was leadership material in their eyes and she agreed, but she was not going to stay on this bus with Shido, especially after she heard him mumble about how this was not over as he walked into the back and sat next to a bus redhead. Yuki's replacement for his group. That set her off and he rushed out the door. Rei! Takashi shouted out after her, but Naruto sighed and put a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, I got it, he said, making Takashi relax since Naruto was the voice of reason in their group, despite his quirks. Naruto walked out of the bus and to her oldest female friend in this now corrupted world. Come on, let's get back on the bus, he said gently. No way, I won't do it. I am not staying her with him, Rei growled out. Naruto sighed as he said lowly, I understand how you feel, but it should only be a short time before we part ways with the Pisco. If I can put up with him for a while, I am sure you can as well. I told him that he would regret letting Shido on. This how? Rei shouted angrily, but Naruto did have a point. Rei, I think we'll all regret it. Naruto replied sadly. I don't want our group to break up because of him. Rei was about to say something, but there was a disturbance. What was it? Well, a bus full of them was coming their way. Okay, you need to punch it, Siko shouted to Shizuka. The bus full of undead hit a car and flipped and barreled toward them. Oh shit! Naruto shouted as he grabbed Rei and dived into the nearby tunnel, with the bus blocking their way out and on fire. Never a good sign. Uzumaki! Are you alright? Siko shouted from her place on the other side. She had been the first to get out, seeing if they were. Yuki was right next to her. Come on! You can't be dead, you crazy blonde! She shouted. Naruto and Rei had landed in an awkward position. His head was once again between her breasts, and his hands on her legs. Getting up quickly and muttering an apology to the deeply blushing girl, he turned to the blocked entrance to the tunnel. Yeah. We're okay. It was then he noticed the undead, which were not burning, were crawling out of the bus. They had to act fast. Let's meet up at the police station. At the East Police Station. What time? Siko asked, being wary of the undead, but she did not have to worry too much because they were dropping dead like flies because of the fire. 7 o'clock. If not today, then tomorrow, Naruto shouted. Alright. Come on, Miku, Siko ordered as they got back on the bus. Looks like we are not taking this freeway anymore. Okay, I'll turn around and find another way, Shizuka said as she turned the bus around and speed away. She just hoped Naruto was alright. In the back, Shido was grinning. Back in the tunnel, Naruto heard a spark and he knew they were in trouble. Oh shit again! Naruto yelled as he scooped up Rei bridal style and started to run. Bus is going to explode, we need to get the hell out of here. Can we make it? Rei shouted in fear. I outran a train when I was 13, I can outrun this. Naruto shouted as they were already halfway out when the bus exploded and the resulting fire rushed at them. Thankfully, they made their way out before they reached them, but they had to tuck and roll away because of result shockwave that tripped them up. They ended up by some stairs that probably led to a park, or something. As Naruto stood up, he felt the presence of one of them, turned, and kicked the thing away. Odd thing was, its head was covered in a helmet, so it survived the fall and got back up. No, bad undead freak. Naruto jokingly scolded the undead biker and sliced its head off. Wow, that was quick, Ray said with a smirk, knowing that Naruto wouldn't be defeated. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and said, "Yeah, well, I didn't feel like dealing with these things at the moment." Ray chuckled and held out her hand. "Come on, let's go, Naruto." Naruto chuckled and took her hand. "You know, you look better with a smile than that angry face you had." Ray had a blush on her face. Naruto was always this nice, and that made her feel good. Deciding to change to the subject, she asked, "So are we just going to walk to the city?" "No." Naruto as they walked a little further to a stoplight to see a crappy-looking motorcycle. "The guy was wearing a helmet, so I am guessing this is his," he said as he picked it and got it started. "Do you even have a license?" Ray asked with mirth. No, but I am sure the coppers won't mind that much," Naruto said with a chuckle, getting one from Ray as well. "Come on, we got ground to cover." Ray shook her head at his antics and got on. As they rode down the highway to hell, Ray snaked her arms around his torso and leaned her head on his shoulder. He felt warm and she liked that. Their world may have ended, but the new world was just beginning. Chapter 5. Naruto yawned as he rode the motorcycle he and Ray were riding on in the coming evening. It was fast, but he was faster thanks to his ninja speed. However, he didn't feel like carrying the girl all throughout the city. So this was the best action. Plus, he wasn't going to fall asleep anytime soon, something Ray picked up as he didn't look all that tired, excluding the yawn. She knew that kind of yawn. He was bored. He thought about all that happened in his life. He was born basically alone in Konoha and had to survive on his own. Then he was a ninja on a team, but that went to hell in a hurry, especially during the Chunin exams. Sasuke's defection. Jiraiya's death. His insertion into this new world. Then this outbreak. His life was nuts, but he never let it get him down. He just took it all in stride, but this outbreak, it was not natural. Something or someone must have caused all this. Question is what? Ray looked at her friend's face to see that it had gone grim. She then thought about what she knew of him. He was a normal high school student with combat training. No, that was not right. He was not normal at all. Nothing ever seemed to faze him. Now, because of this outbreak, he starts to throw out all these crazy things. Like exploding marbles, that weird blade that was 2 blades in a whip, and walking up walls. At this point, she would believe what he had to say. "Naruto, what was all that?" she asked. "All what?" Naruto replied, although he knew what she was talking about. "All that unnatural stuff you did," Ray said. "How can you use this chakra stuff to walk on walls?" "Would you believe me if I said I am not of this world?" Naruto asked nonchalantly. Ray stared at him for a second in shock. "So wait, you're an alien?" Naruto burst out laughing at that. "Oh, she thinks I am an alien. Geez, Kurama, you really have it out for me." Now that threw the girl way off. Was he talking to himself? Who the hell was Kurama? Okay, so you're not an alien. Then what are you? Naruto sighed. He figured he would have to tell her or one of the others someday. He just figured it would be way later. He'd have to give the girl credit, she was smart, and he knew that. "No, I am not from out space, so I am not that kind of alien. But when I first got here 3 years ago, this place was alien to me. You see, I am a shinobi." Ray blinked. Shinobi? Like some ancient ninja? Was he from the past or something? This was not making any sense. "Not the shinobi you learned about in class, Ray. I am talking about warriors who not only fight from the shadows, but people who wield the elements and have epic battles. Stuff that this world would just think that they belonged in anime and manga." Naruto paused for a moment. "You see the world around as is, but what don't see are the things that are hidden away in the earth." "Wait a second," Ray said. "Are you talking about those books about the center of the earth and the mysterious island? Those things are real?" Naruto chuckled. "In a way, yes. But it is nothing like those books. My world is in the earth itself. I got here thanks to a lava tube, and that surfboard you guys saw me ride in on, that was a dinosaur skull. If the history books are right, it might have been a T-Rex's." Ray narrowed her eyes. If all this was true, that might have a safe haven, but she wanted to know more. This was nuts, of course, but she wanted to believe him. He had never lied to them before, why start now? He just never bothered telling them about his past. "Okay, let's say I believe you. What is your world like?" She saw Naruto's face soften and he looked sad. "Why?" "Well, I can tell you it is not peaceful. We have already been through 3 world wars, and that is not counting the Shinobi clan wars. Don't really have a clue as to how that started. Yeah, my world is world than this one, even with all the undead walking around." Did you have to fight in any wars?" Ray asked, feeling sick to her stomach. The wars here were bad enough with guns and those huge bombs. It must have been hell in his world if they could throw around the elements. Thankfully no, but I have had my share of battles, Naruto said. I'll tell you the full story later, but I will tell you of my first C-ranked mission. Ray smiled as she nodded into his shoulder. He was surprisingly quite warm. My team was sent out on a mission to help his old bridge builder back to his home in Wave Country. Naruto began. The old man was a drunk who insulted our team because we're only 12, but our sensei, Kakashi, informed him that we're capable and if things got too rough, he would step in. Ray was shocked that they were only 12 years old and going in missions like that and fighting in that deadly world. She listened as he further explained that their team had run into a couple of Chunin-level ninja called the Demon Brothers while they were only genin. He and a boy named Sasuke quickly took them out when they thought their teacher had been killed. When their teacher revealed himself to be perfectly fine, they found out that a tyrant named Gato had taken over Wave and was sucking the place dry and basically destroying it. That was why Tazuna was building the bridge in the first place. She had to admit, it was noble to help one's country like that even if he was some old drunk. Now, being the idiot I was back then, I decided we should continue the mission to help Wave, even if Tazuna lied about the mission difficulty. Soon, I got Sasuke and Sakura to agree with me and that was what made Kakashi to keep on going. We all knew that whatever came next was going to be a lot tougher, and we were right. We ran into Zabuza, the demon of the mist. His blade is what I based my broad blade off of, only his was a lot bigger. Ray paled at that. When his sword shifted into that broadsword of his, she thought that was big. Now there was a bigger blade out there. As he continued his story, he explained Zabuza's origins from the bloody mist, and she was very glad she was not born in the mist. That place was just plain crazy. She listened on as Naruto explained their battle with him, and how they had to free Kakashi from Zabuza's water prison through tricks, which she thought was pretty funny that a hardened killer like that had been tricked by a bunch of kids. He and this Sasuke were pretty smart to do that in Balza. Though she had to wonder why that Sakura girl was even on their team if she never did anything other than be a fangirl. So after the hunter ninja took his body away, we continued as best we could as we carried Kakashi's body around. He was a jonin, and he passed out from a battle like that. Hard to believe considering his rep, Naruto said as he shook his head as he actually thought about that now. So when we actually made it to Tazuna Place, he recovered a day later and told us that Zabuza was not dead. Ray was shocked to hear that and even more shocked to find out how hunter nin do their jobs. As Naruto continued his story, she found out how he was able to walk on walls because of his tree climbing training. This chakra stuff was pretty amazing. She even smiled when she learned that through that training, him and Sasuke became friends even though it was mostly a rivalry. After that, the blonde told her about the second battle, including him saving Inari and inspiring him to stand for what is right. I am still confused about who his Kurama guy is and how you can draw on his energy, but most of what you told me is a little nuts, but I just drop it for now, Ray said, noticing he was a bit uncomfortable with the subject. Yeah, I'll tell you about him later. But I will tell you this. He is the reason I am here, Naruto said as he went on to tell her about how he and his team buried Zabuza and Haku and ended the mission. This is all still hard to take in, but considering the situation we are in, I'll believe you for now, Ray stated. Still, a whole other world. Maybe that is what we need. Naruto didn't say anything but he agreed with her. Although, going back to his would be pointless. Faye and I was street fighting the night before all this crap happened. The duo on the bike won a hill and it was nighttime now, around 10 p.m. or something like that. Down below, they saw a part of the city street, and it was littered with cars and the undead. They defiantly not going that way. Ray looked disheartened by it all and said, I wonder if anyone will come to rescue us. Naruto closed his eyes and then opened them as he said, Look, I am not going to lie to you and I really don't like being a downer, but I highly doubt it. How, why not? Ray asked, surprised he would say that. Well, those helicopters didn't bother to land at our school where a bunch of kids were at, and not of them landed in the city. They just let them rip into everyone. He paused and said the main problem is with the government. They are a bunch of corrupt politicians that really only care about their own well-being. Ray growled as she remembered Shido and his father. Yeah, I know that more than anyone. Exactly, and they are not going to both with the commoners like us and the rest of humanity. Naruto replied grimly. But what are we supposed to do about help? Ray asked. Well, we'll do whatever we can to survive, because that is what the world is like now. Naruto replied grimly before he smiled and winked at her. But don't worry about that, if there is one thing I know, it is survival. Stick with me, kid, and you'll go far. Ray blinked and then blinked again before laughing out loud, which made the blonde smile more. She had a cute laugh. Oh, don't worry, ninja boy, you're stuck with me. Good to know. Naruto chuckled. Oh man, Ray said as she continued to laugh. You can be serious 1 minute and then be a goofball the next. Seriously, Takashi would have been such a downer if we had the same conversation. Naruto sounded as he had a mock-thinking look. I wouldn't be surprised. He can be a reality downer in time and has anger issues, but he is a good guy, so I look past it most of the time. Ray smiled. Good. You know, you really are the glue that tries to keep us all together. I do my best. Naruto replied with a goofy smile before he turned serious again. He looked behind them to see they were slowly making their way up the hill. Let's go, Ray said once they noticed that. She was clearly not happy that those things spoiled their friendly banter. Naruto smirked. Sorry you suckers. But you ain't getting this human happy meal anytime soon, he shouted as he revved the engine and rode off with Ray laughing her ass off. Hey, good thing she finds that funny because I was talking about her and her sexy NO. Damn it, Jiraiya. You have corrupted my pure mind. Up in heaven, Jiraiya just gave the TV screen that was Naruto's life a thumbs up. Oh yeah. It's dangerous to go outside. Do not go outside of your car no matter what. A voice rang out through the congested roadway that lead in or out of the city. The cops were trying to keep order and so far things were calm, but calm never lasts long. This traffic jam is what the bus that held the other group was in. If we move any slower, we'll be going in reverse. Siko complained. I really don't think the police are helping that much, Yuki replied as he tried to get a good view of them. They are mostly dealing with those undead stragglers, Misuzu replied. That's a good enough reason to stay inside, Tashimi stated. I agree, Takashi said as he narrowed his eyes at the traffic. At this rate, I am not sure we can cross the bridge before dawn, Siko finished. It was at that point that Kota's stomach growled, giving Saya something to yell about. She need to vent after all. Unfortunately for the Yets sitting next to her, he received all of it. Shut up. Be quiet, you're so disgusting. I can't help it, I've been so hungry ever since I started PX90. Kota complained. Suddenly there were some gunshots again and the girls of Shido's group cowered in fear, which caused the sick man to hug them and tell them it was safe. That caused his group to clap for him. Naruto's word didn't even register to them as they were already within Shido's grasp, something Naruto's group was not, and that kind of pissed him off. Still, he would work his fingers on his group until they were completely loyal to him. Takashi was really beginning to understand why Ray and Naruto hated that man. That freak treated this like it was a game to him. Was this freak like that in school? Must have been. The sooner they found Naruto and Ray and got away from him, the better. It was like Shido was trying to form some sort of cult. As Naruto and Ray rode down the streets, they found it empty of the undead, but it was full of disturbing sights. The buildings were all empty, with broken glass and doors, street lights flicked on and off, showing where all the blood splatters went, crashed cars with some of them burning, overturned pots of plants with blood splattered on them, ownerless cats inspecting the blood near a discarded handbag. A destroyed bar with alcohol and blood all over the place. The place just displayed an air of melancholy as they drove past all these disturbing things. They stopped at a nearby building with penguins painted on it. Ray must have known the people inside as she was concerned. There's no one here, Ray said gloomily. You think they got away? Naruto asked. Or did they die? But if they died, they would become them. Ray freaked. Hopefully they went to find others, the ones that are still alive. Naruto replied, and Ray nodded until she looked around to see a nearby cop car that was still on. Naruto! Look at that! She said, pointing to the car. Naruto smirked. Oh man, that's rich. No license, no helmet, stole bike. Man, I am just asking to be arrested, but I never let that stop me before. Ray just laughed at that as they rolled up to it, only to find out that it was half crushed thanks to a garbage truck. Oh yeah, that sucks, Naruto said as he saw the dead cop with it. Thankfully he was not undead. Ray sighed and got off the bike before she walked over to see what the man had on him. Seeing this, Naruto got up and followed, making sure nothing happening like the leaking gas exploding, or the dead guy suddenly attacking her. What she found was some handcuffs, a baton, and a Smith & Wesson gun. Do you know how to use it? Ray asked. Can't be too hard, Naruto said as he inspected the small gun. Like don't aim if you are not going to shoot. He opened the barrel and said, only a 5-shot, huh? Naruto, here, Ray said as he handed him some bullets that she wiped the blood off of. The grip on the other gun was broken, but I think that the bullets are still good. They're bloody but still usable. Naruto laughed. Man, I am impressed. I doubt Sakura or Ino would even bother to that. I am impressed. My dad collects guns, so I have been around them my whole life, Ray stated as he folded the cloth she used to wipe down the bullets. Besides, do you think I'd freak out over a little blood now? I guess you're right, Naruto said with a shrug. You've never been a girly girl anyway. That made Ray smirk as he pocketed the gun and got on the bike. Think I should keep this? Rei asked as she held her broomstick spear. Yeah, it would be a good idea since our ammo is not unlimited, Naruto informed her as they rode off again. You right, and don't you feel better that you have something with a little more oomph? Rei said, making Naruto smile. However, he didn't sing. Naruto noticed that their all-night driving had literally drained the gas tank, so he pulled over at self-service gas station. I wonder if they still got gas, Rei said. They say that each tank has enough gas to fill up 1,000 cars. Besides, it's a day after the end of the world. I am sure they have plenty of gas, Naruto said as he walked up to the pump. When he got a good look at it, he groaned. Ah man, this thing is self-service. So put money in it, Rei said, not seeing the problem. Right, Naruto said as he rummaged around in his pockets, only to freeze as he didn't have that much on him. He turned to Rei cautiously and asked, You wouldn't happen to have any money on you, would you? Rei blinked, now seeing the problem. I kinda left my money in my wallet in the bag. Which meant it was back on the bus. Naruto chuckled nervously. Oh well, I'll just go and raid the place, not like anyone will care. Just be careful out here, I feel their chakra all over the place. Right, Rei said as she leaned against one of the gas tanks and waited for him to finish. After a few minutes, she heard parts of the cash register clattering to the ground and money clattering everywhere. Must be having a blast in there. However, Naruto failed to notice the human chakra lingering with the dark chakra. It came in quick and grabbed her, making her scream out loud. Naruto cursed as he rushed outside and hid behind a tank to see what the damage was. Hey, quit squirming, the thug said as he held a knife to her neck when he saw Naruto walked out from behind the gas tank. The blonde saw that he was a dark-skinned man with braces. He laughed when he saw Naruto. Hey, you got fucking hot piece of ass here, you know that? Let her go, if you know what is good for you, Naruto said with a stoic face. Ha ha! Why would I do that? You'd think I'd go for one of those stanky-ass zombie bitches? The thug said as he used his arm to push up Rei's breasts. Think again, motherfucker. I guessing that you lost your mind, Naruto said emotionlessly. He had dealt with their kind before in bandits. This guy was running on his baser instincts, and one of them was to get a girl any way possible. Crazy? Hell yeah I am, the thug shouted. My family became them. I had to smash everyone's head. My father, my mother, my grandma, and brother. Even my little sister too. Can I be normal? You think I wouldn't be fuck up after that HA? Rei took the idiot's laughing a chance to get the hell out of there. Naruto! She shouted as she pushed him away. However, the thug caught her by the boob and started ripping into her clothes as he roughly fondled her breasts, making Naruto's eye twitch in anger. I sure like the way you scream. The thug laughed as Rei cried. And the way you feel. You got quite a handful there. He then smirked at Naruto and said, You're fucking her, aren't you? I bet you're sticking it to this hot little bitch day and night. Ha! Now Naruto had angry expression, but he didn't boast to answer. Wait a minute. The thug laughed. Holy shit, you haven't? You haven't got on this yet? What a fucking man. Faye, I'd rather be respectful and force myself on her like you are. Naruto growled. Whatever, just give me your bike or I'll kill this slut, the thug ordered. No gas, came Naruto's short reply. I saw you go in there, put the money at the thing and pump the fucking gas, the thug ordered as he pointed his knife at Naruto. The blonde nodded grimly and did as he was told. He would make it up to Rei later, but they had heard the noise and were coming. He let it go on automatic and walked back over to the thug and Rei. Will you let us go? We are trying to find our families. Shut the fuck up, the thug said as he cautiously watched Naruto return. I don't give a fuck about your parents. They're going to end up just like my parent did, you fucking retard. That's what you think, Naruto replied, effectively pissing the guy off. Oh, I so going to kill you, you motherfucker, he shouted as he lifted his knife in the air. Naruto took that opportunity to reach inside his blazer and take out a gun, and he used pure speed to get right next to the thug and Rei. Said gun noticed that Naruto had a different-looking gun pointed at the thug's chest. She saw it looked to be a .454 Casull Auto, and it was pointed right at the man's shoulders. She also noticed that gun had strange marking on it like those marbles. Turn your head, Rei, this is pretty powerful, Naruto ordered, making the girl do just that as she closed her eyes, trusting her old friend. What the hell? How did you get over here so fucking quickly? Are you fucking nuts? The gas will blow us all to hell, the thug nervously stammered out. Naruto cocked the gun. It is better that you stealing my girl. That made Rei smirk a bit, and she found herself free of the thug's arm because Naruto grabbed that man by his neck, moved him away from the direction of the gas tanks and basically blew off the man's arm. Arg. Asshole. Bleeding. I am bleeding, the thug cried as he tried to stop the bleeding and it was failing miserably. Ray glared at the man with no pity. Be glad I don't shoot your other arm off, you asshole. Yeah, she was pissed beyond belief. Naruto sighed as he put a comforting hand on her shoulder. Calm down, company is coming and they can give him a fate worse than death. All right, she said as she got on the bike with him, and they rode off as the thug screamed from help as the undead came to him. As they rode, he heard Ray crying silently into his back and he put on a grim face. Ray was a strong girl and didn't like showing anybody that he was crying, but sometime you just have to left it out, especially after crap like that. Soon, she had passed out on his shoulder, and he decided to head to his small apartment that was nearby. He would have to wash off all the blood that landed on her from that gunshot. Naruto stopped at a small apartment complex and carried the girl bridal style inside. It was small and just perfect for him. He went straight to his bed and laid her down before going into his bathroom to get a wet rag to get all the blood off of her head, arms, and legs. Since his school uniform was ruined by all the events today, he took them off, only to be in his froggy boxers and a t-shirt. He walked back into the bedroom to clean off the blood, starting with her legs. Ray had woken up halfway through the cleaning, but pretended to be asleep. She was secretly enjoying this. She had opened her eyes briefly to see that he had a massive blush on his face. He was so different. He respected her, especially after he had finished cleaning her and debated on whether to strip her shredded clothes off to check and see if she was alright. That made her feel really happy that he would think that way and remind her why she had asked him first to be her boyfriend before Hasashi. Flashback. Naruto! Ray shouted as she burst through the rooftop door that Naruto always occupied. Currently he was cloud-gazing. He raised his head to look at her and asked, "What can I do for you?" "Well," Ray said as she looked uncertain for a moment. "Will you go out with me?" Now that got Naruto's attention. He knew that she and Takashi were having problems, so that is what he figured this to be about. He got up and put his hands on her shoulders so that they would look each other in the eyes. He did notice that she blushed at his touch. That meant that while she was gunning for Takashi to show his feelings, she did have some feelings for him. "Ray, I would love to, but your problems with Takashi is something that you both have to work out, and I don't want to be the guy that ruins everything. I value our friendship too much for that." Ray blushed at that. He wanted to help by not doing anything. He respected her and Takashi's relationship a lot, and that meant a lot to her. She smiled and said, "Okay, thanks, Naruto," she said as she kissed him on the cheek before leaving. End flashback. She smiled at that memory, and his actions today reinforced what she thought about him. She quickly got up and moved to the end of the bed, ready to interrupt the blonde that was freaking out. "Naruto." The blonde blinked and looked to the girl, and she had a smile on her face. "Yeah?" he asked, hoping that she would not mad at him. "You can wash me if you want, I don't mind," she said as ripped off her clothes that were more like rags now. All that was on her now was her bra and panties, which were lacy pink. That made Naruto's face light up so much that Hinata would be put to shame. "Are you sure?" Naruto stuttered, making the girl giggle and nod. Naruto hesitated before he went in and used the rag to rub the blood off of her shoulders and upper chest. Careful of her bruise, he then skipped over them, much to her disappointment, and rubbed the blood off her stomach. After some time on that, Ray stopped him with her hand and they looked into each other's eyes. Ray then reached up and brought his face to hers in a kiss. It was a simple kiss that ignited a flare of passion between them. That simple kiss turned into a full-on make-out session as they rolled onto the bed with his back on the backboard and her on top of him. There was a lemon here. She brought his hand up and said, "You are such a bad boy, you help me get all clean and then make me dirty again. I'll be in the shower if you change your mind," she said as she walked in and didn't even bother to close the door. After that session, he was very tempted to join her and fuck her brains out, but he retained himself. "Takashi, you better appreciated what I did for you, damn it." Back up in heaven, Jiraiya was screamed at the TV. "Are you insane? She basically came on to you." A little ways away, Minato stood there wide-eyed at what his son and friend had done, but his sweat dropped at his old teacher. "What are we going to do with him, Kushina?" Kushina? She was not next to him anymore, and when he looked back to where Jiraiya was, he saw that she was right next to him, yelling at their son. "Don't let her get away," the redhead yelled. "You get in there and make me some grandbabies, damn it." "Oh boy," Minato said as he shook his head. A few minutes later, Ray walked out of the bathroom with a towel around her wet body. Naruto could feel himself getting hard again at the sight. Ray smirked but said, "You wouldn't happen to have any girl clothes on you, would you?" Naruto blinked at that. He actually did have some. He nodded and took out a scroll from a nearby drawer. Ray watched in wonder as he opened it to reveal pictures of random items. Then there was a poof of smoke and some neatly folded clothes were there. Okay, now she believed him more, especially that chakra gun. Her dad had a gun like that, and it never did that much damage. She nodded and quickly put on the clothes in the bathroom where her underwear was. When she came out, Naruto thought she looked like a true kunoichi. She had on an orange, high-collar shirt that showed her stomach and had blue on the underside of the sleeves, black skin-tight biker shorts that were really short, and female ninja sandals that rode up her perfect legs. "Whose were they?" she asked. "Yeah, for some reason, Mom put these in the scroll that she left me." "Left you?" "Yeah, I am an orphan," Naruto said, making the girl gasp, but he quickly changed the subject and handed her a small rod. "What is this?" she asked, seeing that he wanted to drop the subject for now. "A retractable spear. I thought it would be better than the broomstick handle you have," Naruto replied. Ray smiled brightly. "Thanks, Naruto. Hey, how did you make money for all this if you know?" Naruto smiled. "My parents did leave me with some money, and when I needed more I usually got it through street fighting." "What? But my mom usually put a stop to that," Ray freaked. "I know, I met her a few times," Naruto said before he shivered. "That woman can be pretty scary at times." Ray looked at him for a moment because laughing out loud. Her is a guy that fearlessly killed the undead and he was afraid of her mother. What a riot! Naruto chuckled too because he went into the bathroom to change as well. As he was doing that, she decided to look around some, mostly at the pictures spread throughout the room. She saw a picture that Naruto described as his old team. He looked pretty young in that picture and obnoxious. Then there was the teacher of the group. He was an odd-looking one with only his eye visible. Did that mean his face was full of scars? The pink-haired girl must have been Sakura, and she did look a little weak, and that made her wonder why their leader let her become a ninja. Then there was the raven-haired boy. He looked like he had a lot of anger in his eyes. She just wondered what happened. She didn't dwell on it for too long because she went to the other pictures. There was one with a young Naruto and two women on either side of him. There was a blonde-haired woman with two ponytails and huge breasts. Then there was a meek-looked black-haired woman with a pig in her arms. There were more pictures of Naruto with different people, like some really old man in robes and funny hat where Naruto looked to be about 5, a man that was really tall and long spiky white hair, Naruto at a small ramen stand with an old man and a brown-haired girl, and then a large picture with Naruto and a bunch of other colorful kids his own age. Naruto smirked as he came up behind her and said, "That's the Rookie 11 as we were called." Ray jumped at that, making the blonde chuckle before she punched him in the shoulder playfully. "I am guessing that these were all your friends, but I don't see that Sasuke kid in there." Naruto smiled sadly. "He betrayed the village, I'll tell you about it later." Ray nodded before she noticed his new attire. He had on black shinobi sandals, baggy white pants with multiple pockets, a black long-sleeved zip-up shirt, and a long faded orange trench coat with black flames licking the bottom and the short sleeves of it. She didn't see the strange gun, the cop gun, or the rod, so she assumed it was in his coat or the pockets. She also noticed a green gem hanging from his neck. All in all, she thought he looked pretty hot. "Come on, it'll be morning soon, and we need to get on the road," Naruto said, making Ray nod. However, before they left, Naruto pulled out a sealing scroll and sealed everything in the apartment in the same little scroll. Ninja arts were incredible. As they were crossing a large bridge, the sun was beginning to rise in the sky, making everything bright and lightening up the mood. Ray was holding on to him with a smile, but then they heard a noise. They looked and saw a large jet coming up to them. Ray reached out happy as it took a picture of them with Naruto just looking curiously at it. However, as it was leaving, Naruto felt a dark presence ahead of them. He narrowed his eyes as he saw a black dot in the sky. It weaved around like it was lost before charging right at the jet and destroying it in a loud explosion. This made them both on edge, and as it got closer, they saw a disturbing sight. It didn't really have a face because it had enlarged ears that took up the top part of its face, longer fingers with webbing on them to act as large wings. Its feet looked like bird talons, and the crazy thing was, it had an extra set of legs. It also had a shredded business suit on, so they knew it was one of them. "What the in the fuck?" Naruto nearly shouted, catching its attention. "Oh crap. I finished checking on the passengers," a man said as he came into the cockpit of the airplane they were going to pilot. "We don't have anyone that is injured, or has a high fever, or was already dead." The other man, who was a bit older, stared out onto the runway and asked, "Your family, they're in Tokyo, aren't they?" "No one's answered any of my calls," the younger pilot answered. "I just hope they are all right. There have been reports that a giant mountain that sprang up in the middle of that place. Hard enough dealing with the undead, but a mountain with tropical vegetation on it is a little much." The older pilot stayed silent at that, not knowing what to think. The world was truly going to hell. The younger pilot put on his headphones and called the runway tower. However, they weren't going anywhere for a bit. Why? Well, a load of them were mindlessly roaming the runway. Yeah, they had a problem. "Oh, son of a bitch," Naruto growled as he knew he would have escaped this crazy-looking creature. Ray was freaking out as well as she held on to the blonde ninja. What is that? I am not sure, but if had to guess, these things are starting to mutate. Naruto said with a glare at it. How? The T-virus reacting with other viruses and diseases is my best guess, and I am guessing that this freak is the result of bird flu or some infected bat. Naruto explained as he weighed his options as the thing came closer. His eyes were going everywhere, from the bike to the bridge they were on and everywhere in between. What are we going to do? Ray asked. I can't use my homemade spear like this. Just spear it by throwing it. Naruto replied. I have a better weapon for you anyway. You better, just tell me when. Ray said, determined to take this thing out. Naruto nodded as he revved the engine and blasted chakra into the wheels of the bike to go up one of the rails that lead to the top of the bridge. It might have been a crazy idea, but it might just work. Okay, the police gun it out since the bullets are limited and my wood probably won't do much at this range. Time to use the chakra gun. He thought as he took it out of his coat. Pointing the gun at the creature while steering was hard, but he managed. He smirked and pulled the trigger. The condensed bullet of chakra blasted forward and into the side of the creature, literally blowing out its side. It roared in fury, but Naruto was unperturbed. Now! Ray nodded and threw the makeshift spear, aiming at its head. Only problem with that was that it moved and the spear pierced right through its shoulder, cutting off the mobility in that arm and making it crash hard into the ground. Naruto smirked. Great shot. I was aiming for its head. Ray mumbled. Naruto shrugged. Oh well, it was good enough, now let's just get the hell out of here before it gets up. I am not sure how to kill it since this one is different from the rest. Oh, and here. Naruto said as he pulled out a rod like his whip device. What is it? Ray asked. Retractable spear. Naruto stated simply before revving the engine of the bike and zooming off of the bridge altogether. He knew that this was far from over. That thing, if intelligent, would try and get back at them. An undead was surprisingly adjusting its glasses, or at least that is what it looked like anyway. What a scumbag. A female voice said as she looked through the scope on her sniper rifle. This was Rika, Shizuka's friend. He's an actor. He came from Tokunosu for shooting the film. Her male partner said as he observed the scene. Distance 4,500. Angle of elevation -6. Almost no wind, no need for correction. Alright, looks like you've got a green light. Without saying a word, Rika started pulling the trigger on her sniper, taking out the undead actor, and then firing off a few more shots to get rid of all the other undead freaking roaming about. Bravo. The man said once he saw that all of them were dead again. He then pressed a speaker on his ear to tell the runway tower, confirming that all targets on the runway are neutralized. Over. He then noticed that Rika had stood up and was massaging her breast under her vest. What are you doing? I've been laying on my all morning. They feel almost numb. Rika replied. You know I can massage them for you. The man said with a perverted smile as Rika stripped the bulletproof vest off and zipped the shirt underneath down some to get them some air. I'd let you, if you were a better sniper than me. Rika replied with a smile. Oh come on, you're one of the top 5 shooters in the force. The man said. What do I rank? 15? Guess you're not feeling them then. Rika said nonchalantly, making the man inwardly groan. Deciding that wasn't important anymore, he asked, so how do you think they got here? I mean, this is an airport on an island. It could only get here by boat. They've been restricting the entry, right? Only important officials and technicians that need to maintain the airport, and their family members. Rika said. Someone among them must have gotten infected. It's not that bad right now, but we don't know how long it stays that way. Who knows what would happen if they hadn't had us come along? The man said as he watched the plane fly off. These guys would have been fucked. Although, it is not like we have an endless supply of bullets or anything. So you're going to run away? Rika asked while taking her sunglasses off. No, I am not. At least not yet. I am going to the city sooner or later. Rika said. You got a boyfriend or something? The man asked curiously. Rika smiled. I've got a friend there along with the person we both got the hots for. Shizuka sat in the driver's chair of the bus with a very bored look on her face. As this was happening, she and Naruto's group had to listen to Shido drone on about how Naruto was unfit to be a leader if he was gallivanting all over the city like he was. It was really starting to piss her off. Meanwhile, Saya was getting really annoyed by Koda's snoring. So she woke him up. Takagi Moring? He said sleepily. Is it time to get up already? Yes, it's morning. Saya replied with an annoyed expression. Ugh, and you're drooling. Oh, sorry. He said as he wiped off the drool and then looked outside. Look at that. It was a deadlock out there and people were even on the sidewalks with backpacks on. I think it is better to evacuate to the suburbs. Cars are not the only way out of here. Saya replied, pointing to the plane in the sky. The airport's on the ocean, you're right. Koda replied. It's far too dangerous to be anywhere in the city. Saya replied. I bet a bunch of people are trying to escape to some island or some isolated area with a strong military presence or something. Like Okinawa? But the American military that is stationed there isn't there to fight. Oh. But there's self-defense forces. Saya put on a thoughtful look and said, if the military has taken appropriate measures, then I am betting Hokkaido or Kyushu, SP, should be okay too. If planes are leaving, then planes are heading to those areas. So you think maybe we should head that way too? Koda asked with a hopeful look on his face. It's too late, Saya replied with a glare. The areas with heavy presences of self-defense forces and the American military may be managing to keep them under control, but I am sure they have already started to adopt a stern policy toward letting anybody else in. No, sooner or later it is going to be that way everywhere else in the world. I mean, what would you do in this situation? I'd seclude myself, Koda replied. What would happen if everyone in this world starts thinking that way? What if they start focusing only on keeping their community as small as possible in order to survive? You asked some relevant questions, Koda replied nervously. Of course, Yuki replied. She is thinking ahead. She is the smartest person in our group. Saya smirked a bit at that before pointing her thumb at Shido, caressing the busted redhead's face. What are you taking about? Look at him, you can already see that in him. Although I doubt that he knows it himself. Yeah, he is already trying to exclude Naruto and Rei from the group, Yuki replied with a growl, while Saya herself just glared ahead. You know, this all happened overnight, Saya stated. Should I interrupt them? Koda asked with a dangerous look on his face as he palmed his nail gun. Yuki smirked. It would be fun to see him being put in his place again. Ugh, forget the pervy teacher and slutty little Sally over there, Saya replied annoyed. I should consult with someone that I trust. Geez, I could have talked to Uzumaki if he was here. He seems to know what to do in these situations. I know, you like Naruto, Koda replied with a bored look on his face as he looked out the window. Yuki eyed the pink-haired girl with interest. So she likes Naruto as well. Don't be ridiculous, Saya nearly yelled with a blush on her face, but she was just lying to herself. Suddenly, she felt eyes on her back and looked to see Siko with a straight look, Shizuka with a doopy grin, and Takashi, who was smirking. What? I am getting worried about Uzumaki and the others, Siko replied. I hope they can hold on until we meet up. Naruto growled at the scene ahead of them. People were blowing things up and shooting people. Whether they be them or alive, these people didn't care. They had gone nuts. A clear example of this is a bald-headed man wielding a shotgun, shooting everything that is not part of his gang and laughing about it. That's right, you run. Run like hell. The man laughed. This is absolutely nuts, it is like a war, Rei said. They were currently by an underpass, so they were safe for now. And we are front row center for it. Naruto sighed before revved the engine. This a dangerous place to be, so hold on tight. I don't feel like going around, so we are just going to zoom on through. At this, Rei looked at him like was nuts, but shook that off. She trusted him. Naruto went at top speed through the madness. The bald leader of the nut jobs noticed them and ordered his men to fire. Naruto rolled his eyes and dodged the bullets with ease, along with any of the undead that they passed. The idiots were nice enough to shoot them for the two as they passed. Ugh! We're not dead, why are these maniacs shooting at us? Rei asked. Whole world went to hell and people like them just want to see the rest of the world burn, Naruto replied sadly. We can't trust a whole lot of people now. Rei looked sad at that. We can't trust anyone, she muttered. Suddenly, there was a loud screech and they looked back to see the flying undead creature from before. Its arm looked healed, but the chunk of flesh that Naruto blew out was still there. That drew the attention of the nut jobs and they started shooting at it instead of them. Well, that works in our favor somewhat, Naruto said with a sweat drop. I guess, Rei said nervously. Why was that thing following them? Naruto didn't think much on it and looked straight ahead to see something he didn't like, so he turned. Rei noticed this and said, but the bridge is straight ahead. Naruto slowed to a stop and said, I know, but did you see it? Rei turned and gasped. The bridge was blocked by tanks and they weren't letting anyone cross. At this rate, I don't know when we'll be able to cross. So let's head over to Unbetsa Bridge and meet up with the others there. They heard a screech and hightailed it out of there. This guy's a goddamn maniac, Saya said as he glared at Shido's back as he preached to his group about pride in their school and their new family, and how Naruto and Rei were unfit to be in their family. It was just a lot of bullshit that Naruto's side of the group didn't heed, but Shido's group was eating it up. You got that right, Siko said with a serious face. Seriously, did he always preach like this? Takashi asked, getting highly annoyed. All the time according to Naruto, Yuki groaned. And I had to listen to it as I was in his class. It has seriously gotten old. The twins, who were next to Takuzo and Naomi, agreed. The couple just wanted to get away from this freak and soon. It is like he is a recruiter for some sort of cult religion, Siko stated. It doesn't just sound like it, it is, Saya replied seriously. And look at the slobbery idiots hinging on his every word, like a bunch of Scientologists or rather Shidotologists. I need to get out of here. Given the condition on the road, we are going to have to give up our ride, Siko said as they were still in deadlock. Fine by me, Takashi said with a growl. I'd rather take my chances on finding Naruto and Rei than with the crazy cult leader. I trust Naruto more than I do this guy. Koda nodded to his agreement. Siko continued, we have to somehow cross Onbetsu Bridge and head to the East Police Station. We're still supposed to meet up with Naruto. Saya adjusted her glasses with an annoyed smile and said, You're sure concerned about Naruto, aren't you? Aren't you worried about your own family? Course I am, Siko replied with a smile. But my father is my only family, and he's at the dojo overseas. So the only people I need to be worrying about right now is myself and Uzumaki. Really don't care about anyone else. You could tell she was enjoying getting under Saya's skin like she was. And just look at me. I mean seriously, if anyone is going to make it out of this alive, it's going to be me, right? Don't think you are the only battle-ready person, Yuki said with an annoyed grin as she took out her kunai. Siko just smiled challengingly. So where is everyone's house? Shizuka asked. The other side of the bridge. The same area with Komoro's, Saya replied simply. We're the same, Takuzo replied, answering for him and his girlfriend. Out of town, Yuki replied. Misuzu and Tashimi were living with me while their parents were out on a business trips. Oh, my parents are not in the neighborhood, Koda replied as he stood up. Siko smiled, looking to strike up a conversation. After all, Naruto seemed to like this kid, so she might as well be a little civil. So tell me, Hirano, where's your family? They close? My father is a jewelry merchant, so he's gone to Amsterdam to buy stones. My mother is a fashion designer, so she been staying in Paris too, he said, but was interrupted by Saya. Christ. You expect us to believe that crap? Shizuka laughed and said, and if it were a manga, Daddy would be a captain of a cruise ship. A giant luxury liner. Kota smiled while rubbing the side of his head. Actually, my grandfather was. Just ask Naruto, we went on a cruise one summer. Oh, and my grandmother was a concert violinist. He finished by chuckling, making Saya's eye twitch while thinking why couldn't he have been better looking? Oh well, I am sure Naruto's background is far better. However, that did answer many of their unasked questions of where Naruto was that one summer. Shizuka pulled the parking brake up and got up. So? What are we going to do? I want to come along with all of you. Besides, I am sure Naruto needs a good doctor. In more ways than one. Are you sure? Saya asked, wondering what her connection to Naruto was. That last statement seemed to have a double meaning, but with her perpetual dumb look, it was hard to tell. Both of my parents passed away years ago, and my relatives live far away, Shizuka replied before a worried look came on her face. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but I think Mr. Shido is kind of a douchebag. That made all the girls smirk while Koda, Takashi, and Takuzo all chuckled uncontrollably. So what do we do? Siko asked. I am not very familiar with this area. We really need to check on Onbetsu Bridge, Saya stated. What's the matter, everyone? Shido asked as he turned to the front of the bus. We need to work together, otherwise none of us are. Thanks for the offer, but I am going to pass, Mr. Shido, Saya interrupted with a smirk. The same smirk Naruto used on the man, and it pissed him off. We've got our own plans, and FYI, this is no field trip. I have no obligation to be with you. I never had any classes with you anyway, and from Naruto's description of them, I would have never had one anyway. I see, Shido said with a dangerous look in his eye. He then did the finger pyramid of evil contemplation. Thank you, American Dad. If that's what you decided, then go right ahead. I won't stop you, Takagi. How could I? This is a free country, not some iron-fisted dictatorship, hehe. Yet. He chuckled and then licked his lips in a creepy way. However, I am afraid you will have to remain, Miss Marikawa. That made her jump. Losing the doctor is a major blow to our current situation. He tried to put on a kind smile and asked, Would you please stay? What do you say? There are students that are relying on you, he said as he threateningly walked over to them. However, Koda had enough and shot at him, the nail slicing his cheek open a bit. You shot at me? I miss you on purpose, you douchebag, Koda growled. Now this side of him, Takashi had never seen. But you're not a violent student like that, Shido said shakily, knowing if he said the wrong thing, he was as good as dead. How many of my fellow students do you think I killed in school yesterday? Koda yelled back. And I could kill you too for all the ways you always made fun of me. This scared the man a bit. I was holding back. I was holding back for a long time. I was holding it back so could have a normal life. Thankfully Naruto saw it, and kept me sane enough to do that. But there is no need to do that anymore. Kota smiled dangerously. Nothing we know is normal anymore. That's why I am able to kill now. I can even kill living people as well. Maybe I'll start with the ones who made fun of me. I made fun? Shido asked, backing up, clearly a coward. You misunderstood, I have always held you in high esteem. Kota regained some of his senses and said to his friends, if you want to go, now is the time to do it. I'll make sure he doesn't stop you. Siko smiled, clearly impressed with him, now seeing why Naruto was friends with him. He had a kind heart with gun skills, but was always treated poorly and misunderstood. She opened the bus door and said, You're such a man. I'm impressed. Heh, later you creepy-ass douchebag. Kyoko laughed as she left the bus. Shido watched Naruto's entire little group leave the bus with the hot blonde woman and the hot YM teacher, and he grew very pissed. They would pay. It's the same here. What should we do, Naruto? Ray asked as they were stopped in front of another blocked bridge and the sun was starting to set. Should we try a different bridge of something? Naruto held the bridge of his nose in annoyance to the government. I am sure they are all the same. I am guessing every bridge is blocked. Freaking idiotic cops. Hey, you got service yet? Ray checked her phone and shook her head. No. This is getting way out of hand. Naruto complained. Before we get separated again, I am making special seals on these phones. What would that do? Ray asked. Make it work like a normal phone, but it would work like a radio walkie-talkie for our group. Naruto explained. I am not sure if we can get to the East Police Station at this rate. We have to think of something though. Have any ideas? Ray asked, hoping to find the others soon. However, their thinking was interrupted by a familiar noise. Gunshot. Naruto smirked. Nope. Nail shot. Seems they decided that they were finally tired of Shido. Naruto chuckled at that and Ray smiled. Come on. We're the cavalry. He then speed off. Hey, maybe we were better staying on the bus with Mr. Shido. Shizuka replied as she, Naomi, Saya, Kyoko, and the twins all stayed together while the others fought off the undead that they ran into. Just throwing that out there. Hold on, weren't you the one who thought he was a douchebag? Saya asked with a smirk. As a matter of fact I did, Shizuka said with a thoughtful expression. But he wouldn't be the first douchebag that I was stuck on a bus with. Just to let you know, I am running out of the nails. Kota shouted. Crap, that is not good. Takuzo muttered and bashed in the head of a nearby undead. Shoot only when you need to, Takashi ordered. He understood they need the gun fanatic. Siko easily took out the undead freaks around her and said, Do you want to borrow this? She offered up her wooden sword. I really don't do hand-to-hand combat. Kota whined. I can't say the same. I'm actually quite fond of it. Siko replied with a cruel smile as she faced off a few more of them. Naruto and Ray were zooming down a hill and all the bottom of it was a large truck used to tow cars. The rails were pointing upward, leading to the bridge overhead. Ray saw this and shouted, Wait a minute. Are you nuts? Yep. Naruto laughed as he punched it with chakra and blue flames shot out the back, making them go faster as they made the jump. The group heard the bike and looked up, with Siko and Kota expressing their thoughts. Holy shit. Show off. Takashi said out loud with a smile. Naruto heard this and turned his head to smirk at the boy, but his eye windows for two reasons. The shriek of the flying creature was above them and right behind Takashi was yet another new creature. This one is more lean than the normal undead, and its fingers were different. There were only 3 on each hand and had 6-inch claws on them. Other than that, they looked like any of the normal undead freaks, and that also made it more dangerous. Thinking quickly, he took out his chakra gun and took the shot. Takashi thought Naruto was going to shoot him for the remark, only the bullet never found him. He looked behind him to see the creature and half of its head just gone. Yeah, it was dead for good this time. However, Naruto still had to deal with the flying creature that just won't die, along with them on the ground. They landed on the ground and skidded to a stop as they bowled over a few of the undead freaks. Ray instantly jumped off the bike and extended her spear, ready to take them out at a moment's notice. Naruto took off as he put his gun away and took out the police gun and headed for Kota. Hirano! Naruto yelled as he tossed the gun at his friend before heading over to Siko and Yuki, who were taking out their enemies with ease. Of course Naruto saw the crazed look on Kota and had to dodge a few bullets because they were behind him. I was fucking born for this, Kota said once the dead were dead once again. On his way to Siko and Yuki, he used the bike to bash away the undead that were converging on Saya and her part of the group. As he passed Yuki he smirked as he put a few marbles in her hand. She smirked as well, knowing these things were live and used her expert throwing skills to blast them away. What a bang! That's what she said. Naruto yelled over his shoulder, as he took Siko's hand and made a U-turn. That gave her the momentum she needed to be propelled in the air while spinning and took out the undead all around her. Naruto smirked when he saw the flying creature roaring right to him. He back-flipped off the motorcycle while taking out his rod. It shifted into whip form and he wrapped it around the bike and then managed to fling it at the creature, catching it off guard as it was pushed higher into the air. Naruto stood calmly as he took out his chakra gun, aiming for the chakra-filled gas tank, and fired. "Say goodnight, you ugly motherfucker." The reaction of the bullet of chakra hitting it was instant as an explosion rocked the sky, incinerating the flying creature, inside and out because of its wounds. Its burnt corpse fell on the ground, unmoving. "Amazing," Shizuka said breathlessly. "Looks like it's all cleared for now," Siko stated once she got over her shock. "You did it!" Misuzu cheered and she and Tashimi latched onto Naruto's arms. "I am so glad you're okay," Tashimi cheered. "Yes, I must agree," Takuzo replied with a smile as he walked up to them with Naomi. "I don't know how much longer we would have lasted." "They sure were tough to beat," Shizuka stated. "Tough for everybody but you maybe," Saya replied with rolling her eyes. "Miss Shizuka," Rei shouted as she hugged the big-breasted woman. "Oh Miyamoto, what a coincidence," Shizuka said happily. "That's what a coincidence," Rei mumbled. "You too, Naruto," Shizuka said as Naruto walked up to them with a smile of his own. "I am guessing the other bridge is blocked?" Siko asked as she came up to him. "Right, there is no way out," Naruto sighed. Siko smiled and said, "I have to confess, I am really glad you're alright, Naruto." "Glad you are alright too," Naruto replied, although many of the girls knew Siko had it out for Naruto and glared at the girl, including Rei. "What about me?" Saya asked angrily with a small blush. "Hell, I am glad you are okay too. Hell, I am glad you are all okay. But you know, I am even more glad I left you all in capable hands. Kota, Yuki, and Siko helped to protect all of you like I planned in my head," Naruto said with a goofy smile. That made all the women blush and think of him more highly. Kota just rubbed the back of his head with a smile while Takashi rose an eyebrow. "What about me?" Naruto smiled. "Oh, I knew you and Takuzo would do well as well." He paused and saw that Kota was freaking out about his new gun. "What are you doing?" "Naruto. What is this? Where did you get it? Where are the extra bullets?" "This is a Smith & Wesson M37 air weight that the police use, right?" Kota asked rapidly. Naruto's sweat dropped. I'll tell you later, man." Takashi chuckled at the gun fanatic of their group and decided to comment on Naruto and Rei's new attire. "What's with the new clothes?" "Well, we were attacked by some thug, I blew his arm off with my gun, blood got everywhere, and we head to my apartment," Naruto replied nonchalantly. They all just looked at him with wide eyes. "The new clothes are just a plus. Her new clothes are where my mom's," Naruto said again. "Wait. That gun you used?" Kota shouted. "What is that?" "That energy gun you talked about, but I can only use it because it draws on my chakra." "Awesome!" Kota shouted again. The group was now under a bridge by the river. They figured all the noise, mostly Naruto's explosion, would attract more attention than needed. "We got off the bus because the road was blocked, but we haven't been able to cross the river," Siko stated. "That and we could not take Shido's preaching anymore," Yuki said with a growl, making everyone agree to that statement. "Well, I figured that. I mean, a sane person can only take so much of him," Naruto replied. "Yeah," Kyoko said. "I mean, he tried to make Shizuka stay for his own pervert pleasures and would have made me stay as well if Hirano hadn't shot at him." That just made Naruto laugh out loud at Shido's expense, but if Shido made another move on them he would die. Saya walked away from the river and said, "The water has risen, so going farther upstream won't help, I guess." "Then what should we do?" Rei asked. "I have a thought. It's been such a stressful day, why don't we call it quits for now?" Shizuka offered. "Call it a day?" Kota asked. "Why, yes," Shizuka replied. "My friend's plat is just a short walk from here." "Your boyfriend's place?" Saya asked. "Oh no no no," Shizuka's replied while waving her hands around frantically while blushing and glancing at Naruto for a second. "Nothing like that. It's just my girlfriend's apartment. She's always busy working and traveling with her job. She gave me her keys so I could look after the place when she's away." For some reason, that made everyone imagine her as a maid. For the guys, it was a sexy maid and that gave them all nosebleeds. "Is it a high rise?" Kota asked after a second of daydreaming. "Does it have a good view of the surroundings?" "Oh yeah," Shizuka replied. "It's a duplex standing along the river. There's a convenience store nearby too. Oh, and a car, you know, the one that looks like a tank. The thing that drinks gas." She spread her arms out wide and said, "Big." A really big one. That does sound like a good place to lay low for a while. Naruto thought seriously. I don't care about a car as much as a shower, Saya said exhaustively. I don't think I've felt dirtier in my life. Naruto had on a small blush on his face as he looked away. That made the pink-haired girl smirk. We should go there, he replied before sighed. I am really wishing I didn't blow up the bike now. Oh well, Ray said with a giggle. It was almost out of gas anyway. The group sighed and trudged on as they followed Shizuka. As they were walking, Takashi made his way next to Naruto and said, Hey, thanks for shooting that thing. You know, we should think up names for those new freaks. I agree, Naruto replied. Well, considering that clause on that one thing, we should call it a Reaper, Takuzo replied. Good enough. Naruto replied with a shrug, not really caring. They were all undead and he was going to kill them. Oh. Since that one thing was flying and looked like a bat, and they come out around midnight, let's call them Midnights, Koda suggested, and the group seemed to like it. Or they just didn't care because they were all so tired. I just hope we don't run into too many of them, Naruto sighed. Humvee! Koda shouted with excitement. It's the military model too. Told you. It looks like a tank, right? Shizuka asked with a smile. Oh yeah, this could work out very well, Naruto said as he thought about fortifying the vehicle with seals. Then looked at the building to see that it was big, and it looked to have multiple rooms. He would need to put privacy seal on it to make sure they didn't hear anything. He then looked at the fence that Ray mentioned and thought it had good defenses. But first they had to deal with the dead coming at them, for they went in. They geared up and rushed in. After fighting off the meager amount of them, Naruto and the gang made it inside Rika's house. Naruto stood outside for a while, observing the Humvee. He could add seals to it if they were able to use it. It was big, but it needed to be bigger for the group. He would have to work on a dimensional seal for that. For right now, he needed to add security and silence seals to the apartment complex, which was pretty huge for some reason. Well, he actually knew that Rika was in the military, that much he was able to glean from her when they met. So he guessed that with all the money she gained, she was able to expand this place. That was the only logical reason he could come up with. Either way, he had his work cut out for him. That feels nice, Ray said with stretching her arms. She and Shizuka were both occupying the tub while Saya and Siko were in front of a mirror, washing themselves that way for the moment. Yuki, Toshimi, and Misuzu were in the shower area, getting each other wet. Seeing that the bathroom was crowded, Gyoko said she would wait till later. Oh yeah, and they were all naked. It feels like I am melting away? Shizuka said with a content sigh. This is shampoo, right? Saya asked herself aloud as she looked at the bottles. Good God, you're gigantic. Ray nearly shouted when she got a good look at Shizuka's breasts. I know, I get that a lot, Shizuka replied while holding them up. Heh, almost impossibly gigantic, Ray commented before she started to grope the sexy as hell nurse. Here, let me see those things, they can't be real. Saya's eyebrow twitched in annoyance as she heard the resulting conversation between Ray and Shizuka. Good God. So what? We all just had to take a bath at the same time? But you know why, don't you, Takagi? Siko stated. Yeah, I guess so, Saya replied before she made the mistake of looking at the two and blushed hard and then turned back around. However, it did make her wonder if Naruto would ever do that to her. Wait, why am I thinking that? Besides, he accidentally already did that back at school. She was starting to understand her crush on the crazy-ass blonde. She was a very smart girl and he was something she had to figure out. However, the more he did, the more she learned, and it also brought up more questions about him. If she really did like him like that, then she would have to figure out a way to tell him, and soon. Anyway, considering the situation we are in, I don't think we should be doing stuff like this. H. Her resulting scream was the result of Siko spraying her with cold water. Your voice is better than I thought it would be, she replied. Oh? Testing something out? Yuki asked as she came over. Toshimi and Misuzu were still enjoying the warm water in the shower. Oh, nothing. But boys must love her sexy voice, Siko replied with a smirk at her rival more ways than one. Saya smirked evilly as her purple-haired friend was talking to Yuki. She poured very cold water down her back, making the girl scream out sexily, before smirking at Saya. Don't give me that look, you're the one who started it, she growled out. Oh, a sexy voice contest? Toshimi asked as she came over. Sounds fun, Misuzu replied with a devious smirk. Very, Yuki smiled. But let's not excite the boys too much. Siko smirked at that. She already liked this girl. Takashi's head popped up at all the noise in the bathroom. They're having fun, he said with a small blush. Heh, I am not surprised, Naruto said as he came in the room. He had just finished securing the place. No real noise would be heard outside. He was not done with the Humvee seals, but those could wait. He saw that Takashi and Koda were trying to get in a locker of sorts. Probably wondering what was inside, no doubt. Wanna go take a look? You know we're supposed to, right? Koda asked as he working to get the locker open. Naruto's face took on a pervert look as he edged over to the door, but memories of his past in Konoha stopped him and made him go pale. I wish I could. I don't want to end up like Jiraiya did when he was caught peeking on Tsunade. Takashi looked at his friend for a moment, and then sighed. Yeah, Naruto often talked about people he knew from wherever he used to live. Still, the mere mention of what Naruto was suggesting made him shiver. How bad was it? Naruto put on a thoughtful look. Old man said he barely recognized the body. Takashi had a turn at going pale and said, yeah, I don't want to die. He then turned to Koda and said, and I am going to be really pissed off if there is nothing in this thing. There has to be. We found the ammunition, so there has to be something in here. Oh well, let's do it, Takashi said. Naruto watched with barely concealed mirth as the two used a crowbar to try and open the safe-like locker. Want some help? Naruto asked with a smirk when the two nearly gave up. That would be nice. I am dying to know what is in there, Koda whined. Alright, watch and learn, Naruto said as he took a small box out of his coat and opened it to reveal lockpick tools. What the where did you get that? Takashi fumed. Locked myself out the apartment one too many times, Naruto replied, making the boy's face vault. Should have known. After all, Naruto was a little off. He remembered some box but forget the house key? Oh well, they watched as Naruto got the door open to reveal several large guns. Guns that Koda went crazy about. If his crazed face was anything to go by. Ha ha ha. I just knew it, he shouted as he bashed Naruto to the side, scaring the crap out of Takashi. So this friend, it has to be Rika. Naruto deadpanned. Who? Takashi asked. A friend of Shizuka's that I met once. Very hot. Seemed to care a lot of the nurse's well-being, Naruto said thoughtfully. Takashi stared at Naruto, then at the guns. Okay, seriously, who is she to have all these guns? Sarah fucking Palin? That made Naruto burst out laughing Koda while he was still ranting and raving about the guns. Back at the island airport, Rika sneezed. What's the matter? Her partner asked, hoping she was not getting sick. Someone's talking about me, she replied. What? Not a lot of friends, so it is probably either my roommate or Naruto, Rika replied. The guy raised an eyebrow at that. Springfield N1A1 Super Match. It's semi-automatic, but M14 series full automatic is nothing but a waste of bullets anyway, Koda said out loud as he observed the first gun. Chill out, dude, Takashi said, a bit scared. Wait, A1? She's got steak sauce in there, Naruto joked, getting an annoyed look on his gun-loving friend, and Takashi just looked at him like he was nuts. What? I am hungry. Takashi stared at him for a moment before Koda starting taking about the gun again. I am can but 20 bullets in the magazine, that's illegal in Japan. Illegal? Ha ha ha. Hello? Takashi said, trying to get his teammates' attention. Don't bother Takashi, Naruto said with a sigh. When he gets like this, it is best not to bother him. Besides, with his knowledge of all things guns, he will be our long-range support. Best let him be. Takashi sighed as the two boys sat on the bed, observing the crazy gun lover. He seriously needs to get laid. He deadpanned. I agree, Naruto started, but it would have to be a girl who has the same interests as he does. This is going to be hard, Takashi replied, making both boys hung their heads. Night State Route 25? No, you can't get that in Japan. So they just completely modified an AR-1-10, Koda stated with a big and evil smile before he looked at the last gun, if you could call it that. What's left in the locker is a crossbow. It's a descendant of the one Robin Hood used. Barnett Wildcat C5, made in Britain. You can even kill a bear with it. Takashi decided to look around himself in the other side of the locker and found what looking to be a shotgun of sorts. Koda saw it and shouted, that's an E37 riot shotgun. It's a Super 6 shotgun made by Americans. It played a big part in the Vietnam War too. I see, Takashi said, completely oblivious of what he was doing with it before he cocked it and pointed it at Koda, but not to even shoot. Are you nuts? Don't point a thing like that at anyone, even unloaded. But when you do, he gained a dangerous look at his face. Shoot to kill. Roger that, Takashi stated, thinking about the undead. He looked at Naruto, who had an equally dangerous look on his face. What? If come down to it, if we get bitten, don't hesitate to kill either of us, Naruto said. Right. Both Koda and Takashi replied with serious faces. Ow! Siko yelled as Rei started groping her breasts as well. Yuki's sweet dropped at the sight until Ray started looking at hers as well. Wait, You boys don't mind if I use this, do you? Kyoko asked as she came in the room to take the crossbow. She was very much interested in it. Kota looked up, but didn't say anything. Wondering what Kota's problem was, Takashi looked up and froze himself. Fearing anything, Naruto looked up and his nose started to bleed. Why? Well, Kyoko, who didn't bother to take a shower yet, was already in her pajamas, which just consisted of his bra, panties, and her teacher's coat, which didn't hide much. Why, yeah, sure. Everyone could use a weapon, Naruto replied for Kota. Kyoko smiled warmly. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Now, did you use those seals on every room in this place? Yeah, doubled for both so the occupant won't be bothered too much by any noise on the outside of the room. Also, none of them will hear us, Naruto replied, taking great pride in his seal arts. Good, Kyoko said as he left the room with a sway in her hips that the boys followed. But she was mostly doing it for the blonde. Hot Kota replied before his attention was back to what they were doing before, putting all the bullets in magazines. Takashi reluctantly came back to earth as well and helped. Naruto just continued to do so as well. So, do you practice with airsoft guns? Takashi asked. Hell no. He got real training. Naruto chuckled. What are you saying? He's done this before? Takashi asked in shock. Kota smiled. When I went to America, I was trained by this instructor, who used to work for a private military company, Blackwater, for a month. He's an ex-captain of Delta Force. Oh my god, the class nerd is a card-carrying member of the NRA. I'm really glad we're on the same side, Takashi replied, not knowing whether to be happy or downright scared. He was just lucky he never made fun of Kota. Yeah. Heh, never mess with the nerd, especially our nerd, Naruto replied with a smirk before he and Kota laughed, completely confusing Takashi. And if that is your secret life, what's this chick's deal? These guns are defiantly illegal, right? Takashi asked. Kota fell into instructor gun mode. It's legal to purchase the gun in parts, but it is illegal to put them together in this way. Whoever lives here defiantly knows what she's doing. And that makes sense to me since Miss Shizuka said her friend was in the military. So you can get away with anything as long as you're a cop, Takashi surmised. It's obvious she is not a normal citizen, Kota replied as he went on about how unmarried cops live. Rika is very unique, so I am not worried, Naruto replied. Besides, from what she has told me, she has a gun missing, so she must be snipping off the undead. A sniper rifle? What kind? Kota said with stars in his eyes. Beats me, I never asked, Naruto replied with a shrug, making the gun lover slump. They suddenly heard the girls go at it again, screaming and laughing the whole time. They should really keep it down. It is no big deal, they won't hear them, even with the balcony door open, Naruto replied nonchalantly. Besides, they won't be even hearing the girls, Takashi replied as he looked out onto the bridge, where lights and noises were. Naruto glared at that and turned the TV on. Yeah, things were not looking good. The trio watched in horror as things progress on TV. People saying that the government was at fault and that the undead were the cause of some airborne virus. Soon, it didn't even matter because the police were not only opening fire on the undead masses to save a large group of people, but also the uncontrolled masses that were putting themselves at risk. It was brutal to watch, and that was why Kyoko had already turned the TV off in the room she was in. She could not handle the brutality of it all. But she would learn to have to. After all, this is what their world had become. Still, with Naruto in their group, she felt safe. Finally, none of the three boys could take what they were seeing on TV, so Naruto turned it off, but Takashi voiced what was on his mind. We need to get the fuck out of here. I agree, but we need to be ready, Naruto replied. I need to finish the seals on the Humvee, and we need to get supplies. The ramen I have in my storage seals won't be enough for all of us for very long. Yeah, I would rather not leave now. They could attack us in the dark, Kota replied fearfully. However, he flinched in fear as hands came out of nowhere. Well, they came from the bed they were sitting against. Shizuka came of the darkness behind them in nothing but a towel. Naruto smelled the alcohol in the air and figured she must be drunk. If that was case, this was going to be funny. And he was right. In her drunken state, she fell on Takashi before giving him a kiss on the cheek. She then reached downward, but Takashi stopped her. But the result was him pushing at her breasts, getting himself really embarrassed. Sorry about that. Naruto quirked an eyebrow before he started chuckling to himself. Although, he felt a bit jealous. Takashi got to touch her melons. Shizuka's drunken attention then shifted to the other boy who looked taken aback and was frozen to the spot. But Takashi caught her attention again. Okay, look lady, this not the time. Oh, don't be like that, she said breathlessly. It's just a little kiss. Hey, growled Takashi. To him, this was getting annoying. Thankfully, her attention finally shifted fully to Kota. "Kota, daring," she said while crawling on the bed to him. Even he had to admit that was hot. "Me? Darling? Me?" Kota asked embarrassedly, even though he was frozen to the spot. Good boy, good boy. "So you want a prize?" Shizuka replied before she planted a kiss on his cheek. The reaction was a massive nosebleed from Kota that made his brain shut down. Naruto fell on his back and laughed, but he was a bit annoyed when Takashi said, "Please, we should be quiet. You should go downstairs." "No, no way. I am going to stay here just like this. Ugh, I am so tired I might just pass out." Shizuka replied defiantly before she became lightheaded and her head fell on his chest. "You know, either of you could help me out here," Takashi growled to Kota and Naruto. Kota, who was brainlessly walking out onto the balcony, said only one sentence that he could manage. "Huh. I like turtles." Naruto could not take it anymore and cracked up uncontrollably. This caught Shizuka's attention finally, and instead of purely drunken lust-filled eyes, love was shown in there. After all, he was always there for her. Slowly, she pushed off of Takashi's chest and crawled off the bed. She crawled right up to Naruto, who was just now noticing that the nurse was basically on top of him. Hi?" Naruto asked, not sure what to really say. Takashi watched with wide eyes as Shizuka lowered her head and kissed Naruto right on the lips. Also, he had to turn away because the towel didn't cover much of her ass. When she broke away, she smiled down on the younger blonde before she passed out and fell on him. It made him blush a lot because her huge breasts were pressing on his chest. "Well, this is interesting. Yeah, someone needs to take her into one of the other rooms," Takashi said, but it was muffled. Naruto raised his head to see that Takashi had a massive nosebleed. He had to admit, this was pretty hot, and if Shizuka was actually awake, it would be hotter. "I got it," Naruto said as he wigged out from under the hot nurse. He then proceeded to put her on his back, with help from Takashi, and made his way to the stars. "I sort of envy you," Takashi mumbled, which made Naruto smirk until he made it to the stairwell. "Why?" "Well, because Rei was standing there with her arms crossed and frown on her face." "Am I interrupting something?" Rei asked as she got in his face. "Oh no, not her too," Naruto thought as he smelled the alcohol on her breath as well. "Hey, you look really good in threes," Rei stated, suddenly in a good mood. "Great, she's drunk as well," Naruto deadpanned under his breath. "Yeah, nothing is going on. Shizuka greeted us and then passed out." "Oh? Funny," Rei replied before she leaned in a little too close. Naruto used one of his hands to steady her, but he accidentally groped her breast. Rei seemed to smirk at that. Thankfully, Naruto's body blocked Takashi's view of that. "Sorry," Naruto apologized. "I'm not," Rei replied with a sultry smirk. Naruto quickly took his hand off Rei's breast and had to struggle not to drop Shizuka. In the end, he caught her by her bare butt and woke her up. "Oh Naruto, you're such a naughty boy." The blonde's face heated up to near Hinata-like levels. "Very," Rei stated with a smirk and small blush on her own. Naruto decided he had enough and started walking past her. "This may be a good time to talk to him," he whispered. Rei seemed to understand and nodded, but she looked reluctant for some reason. As he walked out of the room, he heard her fall on her butt, and they began to talk, even if some of it was the cause of being drunk. By the time Naruto made it to another bedroom, he was blushing up a storm. Why, well, he saw his pink-haired friend, Saya, snoozing on the couch. She looked really hot in just a tight shirt and panties, along with being still a bit wet, giving off a shine. He would have to cover her up later. After all, he didn't want her to get sick. Thankfully, Siko mentioned that a midnight snack would be ready soon. That was good. He just didn't know she could cook. Still, if he had seen her, there would be a lot of blood on the floor. Anyway, Naruto sighed as he laid Shizuka down on what he assumed was a guest bed. As he was getting back up to leave, his arm was caught, and when he looked back, he saw that Shizuka was fully awake and smiling warmly at him. "Don't go." Shrugging, Naruto nodded and sat down. "What's on your mind?" "You," she replied before smashing her lips to his. His eyes bugged out, especially when he felt her tongue in his mouth. This was the scene that Yuki saw when she went to go check up on Naruto. Checking through a crack in the door. Her eyes widened, like a deer in the headlights look, but she stayed a bit longer. She was reasonable. She would figure out why the blonde boy she was in love with was doing this to the nurse, but she had a feeling as to why. She had been to the nurse before, and the nurse talked about the blonde a lot. Wait a second," Naruto stuttered as he broke away. "I thought it was funny when you were messing with Takashi and Kota, but this was a hell of a lot more intimate. What is going on?" Shizuka sighed and sat up. "I know you the best out of all the time we spent together. You helping at school and helping me understand normal things. I mean, I would consider myself a good doctor, but I am a bit ditzy in a lot of things. You helped me with that. Alright, Naruto said, listening intently. Then when I would get used by those creeps and douchebags, you were always there to pick up and feel better. You were always there for me and I sort of fell for you, she said, blushing along with Naruto, who saw how doing that could make someone fall for another. However, there is an age difference. You're 17 and I am 27. You are a student and I am the school nurse. But all this crap happened and I don't know what to think anymore. I want you so much. Naruto was honestly touched by what Shizuka had to say and smiled. Thanks for being honest with me, Shizuka. I would honestly have to Gay or Sasuke not to want you as well, hell any of the girls in our group. But I sort of have feeling for Yuki. She is really great. Yuki smiled warmly. She really liked the idiot blonde boy. Heck, with all the time they spent together, she was in the same boat as Shizuka. She wanted to share the blonde with Tashimi and Masuzu, but she guessed it wasn't so bad. She got along with the nurse, so it was not that bad. Opening the door, she walked in and closed the door behind her, erecting total silence in the room. Hi, Naruto said, a little bit pale. You would be too if the girl you had feelings for just walked into a room with you and a nearly naked woman. What did you hear? All of it, Yuki said with a serious look on her face to scare the blonde boy, but the old blonde woman saw through it and smirked silently. I just want you to know that I feel the same. At Naruto's frozen look of shock, Yuki quickly closed the distance between them and smashed his lips to Naruto's while pushing him backwards on the bed, put him on his back. Her hand slipped downward and started rubbing him through his pants, smirking at his already hard member. I am sure Shizuka doesn't that we start repopulating. Naruto's face went apple red. Is she suggesting that they share me? He thought. Both girls stared at each other for a moment, an unspoken conversation passing between them before them both smiled with lust in their eyes. Oh boy. What if Naruto has harem in high school of death? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.